Slit, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation first and foremost to new Patreon BG, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot, Steve, On the Level, Thomas van der Zander, Your Name, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twodwazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mels 24, Unamento, Iron 26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Level Plain Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon are below this video. With that, I'm going to hand across to whoever is in Discord and G+, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Yeah.
Was he
But
saying?
he was trying. No, it was him. He was like kind of on Bree's side, and they were kind of sort of doing a 2-on-1 with it. It wasn't out of control or anything. He was pretty, he's pretty calm and measured. But he was just kind of sticking up for. I think her name was. But let me go look in the Ballbusters chat and see if I can find one of her messages and make sure I get her name right. What is it?
So that whole time last night, Witzel was still talking about, how nothing can exist. Is what you
How
said.
it's a true dichotomy and this and that.
Well, looking at the audit logs, it seemed like that Tony Mac or Joe Mac or whatever his name is, seems like he muted everybody. He even muted Witsit and unmuted Witsit, so it seems like it was just moderating by the
Yeah.
audit logs. It was muting and unmuting a bunch of people. But he even muted himsake. He's the moderator.
Oh, wait, server. Which server was that, Regis?
This server.
So wait, who was doing it? Who are you talking about?
That Joe guy.
Oh, Reg Joe?
Reg Joe, yeah. Yeah, it looks like it was just moderating by the audit logs. And hold on a second. Hey, Nathan, did you get my private message?
He may not be there. He's pressing the buttons, probably.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah, just look
when he joins. But did you guys see the? I don't know who. I think it was Flat Drama, the new troll who joined a few days ago. He posted some video from Misinformation Agent, who is another troll, in the Glowbirther text chat, and it's some like song about mocking Witsit or whatever. Kiwi's in there, Nathan's logo's in there, Dave Weiss is in there. Just some retarded song. Somebody made a video pretty much mocking everybody, Witsit mostly. I don't want to post it in this text chat for anybody who wants to look it up. It's in Glowbirther Central. I mean, the shit that people waste their time on is, I don't know, man. Just to demonize others. It's like little, whatever, right?
Hey guys, has anyone seen Richard Branson's latest venture?
Hey, good morning, Glenn. Oh,
Good
this
morning.
stuff you just posted?
Yeah, space perspective, they're calling it. It's basically a gondola on a balloon that only goes 20 miles up. Yet they're calling it space tourism.
Yeah. Did he actually go in it? And did he actually go up, or is it just a camera?
Yeah, it's like a 6-hour flight. It takes 2 hours to go up. You've got 2 hours up there. There's a bar, room to mooch around and all that stuff. There's even a sauna.
Nice.
What? A sauna in a balloon? Like, who thinks of these things, man? What's the purpose, dude?
Yeah, it's not got the fanfare of the other space tourism scams where they're basically just doing parabolic flights. You don't get this. You don't get that from this because it's just it ascends and descends at like 12 mile an hour or bicycle speed, as they claim.
So what did they see? How did they curve the horizon?
Well, I'm sure the windows are heavily beveled, but yeah, I haven't seen any footage from inside. I've only seen 3D renderings so far.
Oh, that's all they got? Cartoon?
I've only just came across it today. I've only searched 1 or 2 videos, but I posted one in the main text chat, and that's just CG.
I'm just looking at it. It's a show. Ocean for a gentle landing. Yeah, it's pretty much CGI. I mean, why show CGI if somebody went up there? Why not have a camera or whatever?
Yeah. Well, I've only heard about the project today, but I think the first video about it was 9 months ago, so there should be something.
Hey, Regis, we got a new member this morning. Yeah. This fella is an Orthodox Christian.
Okay. I'm just checking out that video you told me about.
Oh, you see it?
Uh,
Yeah. What do we do? What do we do with that stuff? Do like just leave it there? I guess in that, right?
I don't know. I may remove it. It seems pretty bizarre. But is there footage of Witsit dancing like that? I'm like,
Oh man, that's like, how do you call
yeah,
it?
but you can
Take
tell
somebody's face and like you put it on a.
you can tell like that for some of them that it's really obvious, but for like a certain one, it doesn't look like it's edited or anything like that. It looks like it's actually him.
I think they're all that.
Well, the obviously edited ones are obvious. You can tell. There's like you can see like they're not even
Only,
cropped. The heads aren't even cropped right.
yeah, like like pretty much they all cropped up. Like, I mean, tell me which one you think is real. Like, I don't think so, dude. I think they all cropped.
The one near the very beginning, that one seems like it's real. Maybe he did show off his moves. Oh well. Yeah, I'll remove it. I'll remove it.
Yeah, and that those two are definitely trolls, bro. Misinformation agent and Flat Drama. I had a feeling Flat Drama was the one that was recording, but it was I guess Boston Beer. But Flat Drama is yeah, 100% a troll.
All right, we'll talk about it in mod with.
For
Talk
sure.
about it on Nathan's show. We'll talk about it when we're just us.
So does anybody know what's going on with QE's computer then? Like,
It wasn't a computer. I think it was the internet.
oh, same thing again.
Because I watched the end of the stream. And it's the internet, supposedly. Unless it's something on his computer that's messing the internet up. That also could be the thing.
Yeah, it's probably just his internet.
Nathan, you should check out the DM I sent you. Not today. If not today, we can do it tomorrow, possibly. But I sent it to you on Skype.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 2 days. Oh, what? That's it? Okay. Right, so that was 2 shows in a row for QB. The internet messed up.
More than you think. Like I hear references to the stationary plane. It's crazy, bro. I hear it a lot.
I have been.
Does have to be a, like. Are you saying like he's a blower because he said he went around the world? Like you can
No, it's just
go around
it's
something,
it's just
go around the neighborhood, right?
it's
Or
just because he said they went around the world and they thought that was a weird way to say they went to England. Or they went across the world. He goes, across the world? Why would you say go across the world? What is he, a flat earther?
Huh.
Something to that. I'm like, oh, well, damn, I guess.
Did anyone see Mark Sargent trim out a bit from Deadpool 3?
Oh, that must have been what you were just talking about.
They're having a little meeting around the table, and his blind housemate, or whatever you want to call her, starts rambling on during the meeting, and he says, "Okay, round earther."
I
As in,
just said that.
Yeah,
As in-
Flat Earth Ranger just mentioned that a second ago. That's funny. Oh, they know.
Deadpool's he's a controversial character, isn't he? He's anti-hero, I think is the right term. So having the anti-hero be a flat Earth proponent is kind of the word apt.
It's fitting. Was he like the Deadpool character when he said it, or were they just kind of joking off set?
No, he's not breaking a fourth wall or anything. He's talking in character, in plot. Part of Deadpool's
Oh, it's like a
character
line
is to,
from the script then.
it's hard to explain with Deadpool because part of his character in the comics and in the film is specifically in breaking the fourth wall. So he talks to the audience about what's going on. Yeah? Well, he's not doing that. He's just talking to her. He's just saying, "Shut up, round earther." He doesn't say "shut up," I'm paraphrasing, but the tone is to shut her down and demean her with the fact that she's a round earther. Round being the actual word he used.
Yeah.
You know, I would say that if you're going to take that kind of stance, then it's kind of like a watered down version of an actual anti character. It's like blurring the lines, if that makes sense, because it makes you appeal to the nature of humanity in the process of giving you some sort of anti hero character, but it's not really that. It's more nuanced than that, you know?
Hey, Nathan, did you forget to put the G Plus link in the Skype? I see John Shelton. Is that probably you?
Sorry. All an anti-hero is a bad guy that you root for. That's basically it. Like Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa. The guy's
Yeah, but the archetype.
Yeah.
he's a terror. He's not a good person. In fact, he's a very foul person that you'd probably despise if you had to encounter, but you root for him through the entire movie. Same with Deadpool.
I would say that the archetype of some sort of anti something would be the antithesis of it. So if it's going to be some sort of anti hero, it would be an exceptionally bad guy that only does bad things, not good things ever. So you would need to be able to distinguish some sort of archetype for a hero to be able to give me the example of what you did give an example for an anti-hero. I would say that the anti-hero that you're giving some sort of outline to blurs the lines between good and bad. It doesn't give you a distinct bad character.
Yeah, I'll just read out a definition of it right. An anti-hero is a protagonist who lacks the qualities portrayed in a traditional hero, like morality and courage, and often embodies behaviours you'd expect in a villain. That's it.
Yeah, the first anti-hero I heard of was Wolverine in the 90s.
Yeah, to a degree,
Hey,
yes.
Nathan, they're asking for the link in the Skype.
It's
join
because
the
I've sent it to Righteous by accident. I was just talking to Righteous in Skype, so where I've normally pasted the link into Skype, because it's normally on Master B, it's just gone to Righteous by accident.
I've never joined Master B. I don't know what it's like.
You should.
Well, I can set you up with that.
I can do it. I could do it right now if I wanted
You're
to.
already on
Join
there?
the main panel. Absolutely,
Yeah, I'm on
Flatsy.
Master B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that bugs the hell out of me. Just out of habit, you're in Discord. You're elevated to the level of being in G+, which means that I've got better you've got better audio quality and various other perks in G Plus that I don't want to necessarily disclaim. But yeah, you should be in G Plus.
Wait a second. No, she's elevated here in Discord, Nathan. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can kid
have
yourself all
a
you like.
disadvantage here in Discord.
It's like saying, no, you don't have to be in the taxi. There's not that many perks. You could be on the bus. There's loads of perks to the bus.
You meant limo versus a taxi.
No,
she's got
bus.
more.
Bus. Let's call Discord the bus. G Plus is the taxi. Where are we going? Flat Earth. Hey, Brian. Hey, John.
I think you guys are a little out of touch with the world.
I have no idea. I mean, I literally joined this room, or if we're going somewhere else, I typically have to ask a moderator to send me there. Can you put me physically in that room?
Yeah, Discord is very nice. Very nice app.
I do quite like
I
it
like
when
it
you...
a lot.
Sorry, Flatsy, go ahead.
I was saying I like it a lot. I think that it's the best accessible application that you can have right now to connect yourself with a bunch of loads of people in one call. I mean, even then, but also able to share information in the side chats and PDFs and citations, those types of things. It's just the best innovation right there.
Okay, let me just ask you a question, right? I don't even, like I say, I'm very ignorant of Discord, but I know what it represents as software, and I'm very familiar what it does and what it is, right? If you were to survey just 10 people and ask them the following question, how many out of 10 do you think would say yes? Is Discord toxic? Question mark.
Oh, dang. I bet they would say yes.
How many
Well, that would
out
be
of
the
10?
same thing to saying that for YouTube.
I'm not. Do you want to call yourself the taxi? Taxis often stink of puke. Let's
But
not
you're
talk about the
making us
taxi. We're talking about the
define
bus.
the thought.
How many out of 10 do you reckon? It's obviously made up and just a bit of fun. Is it no one? 0 would say it was toxic.
Oh no, it could be wicked toxic. Depends on where you are and who you're talking with. That's anywhere, really.
Yeah, we keep a pretty clean server here.
Yeah, I don't have any troubles like I do other places. Here is so nice and clean.
So did you say other places? Like, you mean there's stuff outside of Flat Earth Debate Discord? Okay, and they're Discord too, though, right?
Yeah, 24/7. And also, even more importantly, politics server.
It almost seems like my question's being evaded by the two proponents of the bus being a disco techno bus that's super cool.
Well, I think that question is irrelevant because every social media would be the same.
Of course,
whether it's YouTube, whether it's
totally
Discord, or whether
irrelevant.
it's Skype.
Say no more.
X can be toxic as well, Nathan. That's the kind of responses you're getting.
I've got Brian piping up. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
Oh, X can be toxic as well, Nate.
No,
that's the kind of responses you're getting.
I love it.
Nobody's giving a yes or a no.
I call Witsit a grifter. You make money too. That's how you make me all money. Yeah, I'm not lying and grifting. I don't care what X does. My question's gone unanswered. One guy said it can be very, very toxic. That's one answer.
I'm being sarcastic because you asked everyone a basically yes or no question, or how many out of 10, and you're getting most of the answers you got were kind of like evasive.
Yeah, I certainly did, didn't I, Brian? Oh, you're on my side. Good.
That would be a toxic
because
trait.
The emotions of other people. We're trying to divine the thoughts of other people, and I don't know because it varies and differs among all the servers that I'm present on.
You undermined, you rumpused Brian's underhanded jab there. You were saying, hold on, I'm being distracted. 1 second.
Yeah, the thing is, he was asking your opinion on what you think people how they would take it. He wasn't basing it on divining their thoughts.
Brian
But that's
suggested that
irrelevant
being.
because
Hold
that
on,
has to do
sorry,
with.
I'll just get this in. Brian was suggesting that being evasive could be considered toxic. Just saying.
Well, let me get this out really quick. It's a relevant question because it has to do with like human nature and people getting together.
Oh, I got
So
there.
the platform that it's on doesn't really necessarily matter. It can be
Okay,
either
yeah, you're
platform.
smarter than the average bear there, Righteous, aren't you? That much is the conclusion that I was going to eventually tail this off with. Yes, we're not talking about platforms and mediums. We're talking about people. People are toxic. Does it have people on it? Yeah. So are you generally going to get the answer yes if there's people involved? Yeah. So it is spurious on my part, but just a bit of fun. Just in case you get a bit ahead of your, your station. You've got to stay in his lane, hasn't he, Brian?
Well, yeah, I suppose that's his lane. He can't put it down. That's his bread and butter. So I understand it.
Spend a lot of time praising them. I do praise you, the moderators, Discord in general, the hospitality of the people involved in whatever server we're dealing with, right? Because that's what's important. It's not the platform. It's the guys. Like earlier, a couple of minutes ago, we had a discussion between Righteous, AJ, and myself. That's people discussing stuff. Now, how the realization of what we were discussing happens on a platform could be any, couldn't it? But that's people doing stuff. Anyway, sorry, Brian, I'm cutting you off.
Well, it's your observation of someone's wisdom on running such a platform that you can, do your thing on. So, shout out to Righteous and his
Absolutely.
ability to do that.
The bus will always need bus drivers and ticket collectors.
All right, Flatsy puffed me up and Nathan deflated me.
Did Righteous just swear? Did Righteous just swear? Did you just swear?
No, I didn't swear. I said
Okay, I misheard you.
Flatsy puffed me up and Nathan deflated me.
Oh, talked me
And I
up.
said beautiful.
Oh, I was just using Bible terms. There's a Bible term being puffed up, like a turkey puffs up, right?
Yes.
For its mating call, when they're mating and they puff up and they want to act like they're the most dominant.
Yeah.
I would say it was about 3 or 4 out of 10.
Well, I think that he does have a lot of wisdom in how he moderates the server and the way that he tells others that he gives delegation to.
All right, we gotta stop this, okay?
I would say this server, it's lower though. If you want to compliment Righteous, the toxicity level in this server is below average. That is to say, if you were to ask 10 people, in my humble opinion, where its average is 3 or 4 people would say, yeah, definitely toxic. In this server, it'd probably be 1 or 2, or at the most 2 or 3 people that might say, yeah, there's toxicity. Because there isn't really. There's not a great deal. There's people.
I'll be honest. I don't really go into Discord much, but when I am on in there, there's only really 2 people I can pick out on Righteous's server that are toxic, to be honest.
Is QE one of them?
QE and Righteous, yes.
Maybe. And then Nathan. Those are the 2. Hey, but those are the ones we're given the platform to, or that not me, but the royal you on this server, given the platform to. That's what's up.
This server is a lot cleaner than others. It got to the point where I don't even swear in my YouTube comments anymore because I keep thinking they're going to get deleted because of the comments on here. You can't use profanity in the text chat. Like, it's kind of like, now I don't use profanity on YouTube or anywhere else either. Even just, text messages.
That's a tough job because there's a good chance that somebody who feels like they've been wronged wants them to over-moderate. So I'm sure that the vast majority of the complaints are like, why haven't you banned this person? They won't admit to being wrong or whatever. So I have to do that I'm not even a mod, but from a tertiary perspective, I'm dealing with people like Neil going, why isn't this person banned? And it's like, well, they haven't done anything too egregious. So why would they ban them? They're like, well, you're screaming at them to be banned. And it's like, yeah, but I've made it explicitly
I've
clear
never
that...
requested anyone
Here
to
we
be
go.
banned. Never.
I'm just giving an example, Neil.
Now, why did you have to use Neil, though? Why Neil?
It's
Exactly.
like
I
when
never
Brian
ban
comes along and says,
anybody.
you've got to get rid of AI. You need to ban it. I couldn't think of anyone quick enough.
Well, that's not going to happen because he was ruled to be misunderstood in the overall
Unrightfully ruled.
like court ruling.
I was surprised he's not a mod. When it came to it, and Brian was like, you server muted me. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Because in the moment, I felt justified. After the fact, I relinquished all of that justification. But that's not the point. In the moment, I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Because I thought he was a mod. So when he's like, I don't have any mod abilities, I was like, really? Why not?
Because he'd
Tell you
abused them.
something, that judge sucked yesterday.
Did you hear that? Because it abused them.
Yeah. And that judge did suck.
He's been chastised for his approach big time. But for the most part, like anyone else that maybe, you're here, you're listening in, you've got your own perception of how everything happened. But I honestly agree with the misunderstanding ruling.
He's out there working his magic on you.
Yes,
Brian's
he
not
is.
persuading.
There was no
No. I would say
misunderstanding
this.
there.
I would say this.
Give it 2 years.
No, I'll say this. I'll say that he came to the same conclusion as I did. Like I had publicly said something on, I think it was 24/7, about my conclusion about ether and stuff and how it originates or even would come close to being represented in the Bible. He came to the same conclusion that I did.
Nah.
And I heard him say it, and I spoke up.
He
when
has
he
his
said
worked
it,
his
and I was like,
magic.
"You came
He's
to the
made it
same
far more
conclusion that
complicated.
I did."
He just rumpus the crap out of Brian with Brian's technique of rumpusing when he's on point, which is to just relentless like a terrier, right? So when he started doing it and telling him to shut the F up repeatedly, calling him an idiot, shut the F up, you're an idiot, shut the F up, paraphrasing, right? That was where the damage got done.
Retard.
Shh. Yeah, I paraphrased for a reason. Yeah, but that was where the damage was done. Because Brian was right on point, which is going to make anybody furious when they're trying to keep their opponent on point. And two moderators, me and, in this case, AI, are jumping in. And I'm just trying to say to Brian, I'm trying to get control of Witsit because he's question asking you. Brian knows damn well what Witsit's doing. He's told me after the fact. I don't need to be stepping in. But it's perceived by me, which is probably why Witsit did it that way. And when Brian just continues relentlessly, AI does the same. That was where the damage was done. Not over some perceived right or wrong or the argument. It's when he's rumpusing the crap out of him and Brian's blood boiling, rightly so. He's on point with Witsit and knows damn well where Witsit's trying to obfuscate. And he's managed it because he's got me and AI jumping in and on Witsit's behalf, me to stop him and AI to support him. So I can understand totally Brian's gone through this. Now, if you want to call that a misunderstanding, I don't know, rumpusing him, calling him an idiot and telling him to shut the F up about 16 times until he did and yielded and nothing was going to happen until that happened. It's like, well, you've wedged yourself in between this discussion between Witsit and Brian, where I'm trying to, and he's trying to assist me and off the back of that hand, assist Witsit by Brian's perception at least. You're like, that's where it's all gone awry.
Nobody's focusing in on when he came in to do it. That's what's bothering me.
When who came in to do what, Neil? You have to be specific about who and what they are doing.
It was the specific times. That was just one time. That was you're just talking about that same event happened a couple of times throughout that whole recording, and I think it didn't just happen to me. I think it was specific times. Now, AI has other people fooled, but I know that AI knows better than to do that. He knows by doing that, he's only going to cause a bigger division between the point that was being made and, that I was trying to make with it. He knew by doing what he was doing was going to create a wedge that was going to be so big we were never going to get back to the point. And he did that at least, I'm pretty sure 3 times throughout that night to me. with it. So, like, he knew what he was doing. He's not stupid. I guarantee you, he's not stupid. He's dishonest, but he's not stupid. The bowlers are often dishonest and stupid. AI is dishonest but smart, and that's the difference. So I guarantee you, I can hear my words. Within the next 2 years, I guarantee you, he will be exposed. Because there's only so long you can be dishonest for.
And me
Wow.
and Brian are never wrong.
Did this just happen? Like, I'm
Yeah, QE held
completely
court.
clueless.
QE held court yesterday, and it was a sham. If you call that a fair court.
I would give him an A for fairness, actually, Neil, but an F for discernment.
Well, hold on a second. The burden of proof would have been on the prosecution. Was AI on the defense in this accusation?
Oh yeah.
You could.
I presented my case, and QE saw it clearly for what it was, just like any rational person would.
Yeah, because you're a lying sack of shit.
Yeah, only the smart people could see it your way. You can listen to it, John. You can listen to when you listen to the show that Nathan recorded, the after show of last week's QE Live. That's when the events take place. But it's all happening within a couple of hours, so it's not like within 20 minutes.
So if I wanted to make
Hold on, hold
decision
on.
on this,
Just one sec, John. Got AI to actually respond in. Hello, AI.
Hello.
Talking about you calling Brian names and telling him to shut the F up repeatedly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. By all means, go listen to it. Anybody who listens to it will clearly see that the lead up is absolute a shit show chaos. And in the fog of war, I was getting pissed off that Brian wouldn't yield to Nathan. So I told him to shut up in a very emphatic way. I mean, what's wrong with that? For goodness sakes.
There's nothing wrong with it.
So add confusion with confusion.
Hold on, Neil.
Yeah, it couldn't be any clearer. I mean, I've just gotten it so wrong.
Well, hey, not only did I agree with my position, Quantum Eraser agreed, and so did a bunch of people who were listening that day agreed.
But lots of people agree that there's Urkov. They're wrong as well.
That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making, Brian, is that other people have said
it's exactly what
you. Oh my goodness, dude! This is exactly what you do. You just talk and defend yourself, and then I talk through you.
Anyway, it's too early for a heated discussion.
There you go. Now, see, there you go. Now he's on to somewhat nearly insulting me.
Yeah, hey, dude, you're castigating my moral character based on what happened.
This is your
I'm not doing that to you.
This isn't very productive.
Okay, but right, it's clear that you both don't have enough disdain in your veins at the moment to make this a coherent and enjoyable row. So can you wait till you're a bit more angry with each other?
Hold on a second. It's okay. Everybody seemed to kiss and make up yesterday, Nathan. So don't worry. Everything will be
When did that
nice
happen?
and sweet now.
Did they?
Except for me, I didn't.
I'm glad we sorted it out.
No, dude.
Yeah.
Brian's going to hold on to this for like the rest of his life. Like he's been mortally wounded or something.
No, I'm going to hold on to it forever and ever and ever, not just the rest of this life. Because when somebody is a low life,
Don't start.
Yeah, low life.
You know, see, I know you're smart enough to do what I'm accusing you of doing.
Hey,
and I know
Brian,
you're too smart. You're too smart to have done what you're claiming to have done. Why did you keep walking through me?
Anyway,
maybe appeal to consensus again.
Enough. Yes, he did appeal to consensus, and you did a false comparison fallacy. So
I did not appeal to. Hey, look, I did not appeal to consensus. That is wrong. No, I didn't. You want me to explain how, or do you want to just keep saying I did?
I don't need any explanations from a lawyer.
Oh, just both of you, give it up, please.
I I'm not going to continue it on into the live show. It's just
Hey, look,
I'm not listening to any nonsense.
I'm not castigating anyone's
Only
moral
the
character
smart
here, am I?
people. Only
I'm just
smart
trying to
people
defend
see it the way
myself.
he sees it.
So who's in the wrong here, me or this guy?
Guys,
I don't know.
unnecessary. This is unnecessary. Why are you doing this now?
Did you hear the recording, John? Listen to that and see if it's unnecessary.
Yeah, go listen to the recording,
Hey,
John.
John,
and then
John. Hey, just let me speak to John for a second since he asked. Hey, John, if I called you an immoral, scumbag, dirtbag liar, do you think you'd want to respond?
Why would someone call someone that? It's nearly like they had a reason.
Oh, my goodness, dude. Wow.
Well, I don't want to take away or add to any points y'all made, but we're going to let this go in the live show, aren't we?
Oh, I'm not going to go into it in the live show.
There's no need to. Don't worry about it. Everybody go.
If we carry on this discussion, you realise that I already peppered my preamble of how this occurred with Whitsitt intentionally orchestrated this with his question-answering verbal diarrhea so that someone had to separate them. And when it failed because Brian was on a point, that's where AI stepped in. Now, that starts with Whitsitt getting pummeled by Brian and needing a little life preserver tossed to him with a little bit of audio chaos. And if we focus on the audio chaos he caused, now I can't even bleeding remember the point that was being rumpused in that moment because this has taken precedent, hasn't it?
I do.
Yeah.
What was the point in the moment?
The point was describing ether analogized with different forms of water, whether it be a lake, a stream, etc.
Yeah, you shill. You helped him along with bleeding guitar strings.
Damn straight he helped him along, and you should have heard them yesterday, tag teaming and defending each other. That is AI and Whitsitt.
I have no hassle with Whitsitt. I have no hassle with Whitsitt, Nathan. Whitsitt debates the way he debates. I'm used to that. He's going to do what he's going to do. I'm fine with that. I have a problem with people pretending that they're not helping them when they are.
No, he was helping the discussion move with coherency and so we could hear it. And that was what I was trying to get.
Maybe you can try that same way on your live show and see if it helps things along. If you think that's helping things along, then you can leave them do it on your live show.
Okay, I'm just saying that was the intention.
So when we had a little court trial,
you roboting.
Go ahead.
Probably a good thing.
No need.
Yeah.
Oh, there is.
You mean a whole bunch of charlatans?
Yeah, that's the way to start her up.
Yeah, we've had a bit of bad blood in the pre-show between the G Plus taxi and the Discord disco bus.
You mean peanut gallery?
What we refer to as the peanut gallery. Now, I often express my deepest gratitude to the immense amount of work that goes into maintaining a Discord server. Now, why do I do this? Because it's not mine. I put zero work in and just extract from it like a little leech. So I have to be very grateful and careful what I say here. But in the interest of good humour, having a little bit of rivalry between the general panel, which is my G Plus panel, and the Discord server is good. It's it's indicative of how the debate typically runs. There may be some impressions, although I don't typically see them, I don't watch, that there's some, I don't know, what's the word they use most typically? I do know this actually, echo chamber they'll suggest. On the contrary, we're arguing all day long internally, along with our debates with the rivals who come along now and again. More and more infrequently, let's be honest. But no, there is no just mandatory agreement, and far be it for anybody to join and say, I'm a flat earther, when they talk nonsense. It doesn't get you any points just because you're a flat earther. On the contrary, if you disclaim that to us, we'll want to know if you actually know Earth is flat. Or are you just a pitiful flat Earth believer here to talk about the ice wall or the dome? And then you'll be chastised, regardless of your flat Earth affinity. So let's just get that cleared up. So there is no immediate good blood that you must assume you have here. Nobody has that. Not to my knowledge. Even in the G Plus panel, sometimes it's worse.
Yeah, it gets a bit vicious in here sometimes.
Nice that it's not you and Brian at each other's throats, John. Tends to be Brian often. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, because Brian's always right, and you're constantly.
Just common denominator tends to suggest he's a troublemaker.
Yeah, it's nearly like he's promoting Christ-like behavior.
I like arguing with Brian, though.
Michael Kahn did a nice little Bible verse that was talking about Christ's description of how the truth will divide. That is to say, if you're putting truth out, you cannot expect it to automatically gain fans on every side. No, it's going to divide. That's what the truth does to people. So when it comes to this Witsit thing, it's different because there's been very little impact on me, if I'm honest, because the blows have already been dealt when Bob Nodell did it years ago and stripped away me from what he called the Flat Earth community. In reality, kicked me out of what was now accurately described as the True Earth section of Flat Earth, who punt ether. So that's what I was chastised from. So over the course of the years in between, you've had Jaron calling me a scammer and various other levels in between. So when it comes to Witsit defending his blatant and egregious lies, there's still going to be people who want to align with him and therefore decry anything I do or say and appeal to me as an individual rather than the argument about what are we talking about? Ether, whether or not it's real. That's the main crux of what we're doing here because we want to be true to reality. That's our purpose here as flat earthers. And we would hope that if anybody else is listening and calls himself a flat earther, number one, they know it's flat, as opposed to believe it's flat. And number two, don't go around peddling garbage. Just because they've come across deceit in the world doesn't mean that you suddenly get the right to peddle garbage. It's infuriating. So when we point it out and get very passionate about the fact that there's people in our community that peddle garbage, and people just focus on, look how passionate you are, you're getting all angry and stuff. Very bad for you, Nathan. You're like, oh, bloody hell, here we go. Ether victim much. But yeah, it divides. Truth divides. So pointing out that there is no bleeding ether and it's just a complete bullshit lie is obviously going to cause a certain amount of division. Us pointing out in general that Earth is a spherical surface like you were taught in school? No, it isn't. Measured flat to give you that spherical surface to believe in. There is no spherical surface. It's all in your mind.
What do you mean it's measured flat? Can you explain?
Everything we do that will reference the ground is flat. Doesn't matter if we're flying over it, sailing over it, mapping it, charting it, building on it. It's all done flat.
Even when you calculate the curvature you won't see, you do that flat too.
Yep, it all starts with a flat Earth genesis measurement for all instances that reference Earth. Why? Because Earth's flat. So I'll often go through searches to find... Sorry, go ahead, Neil.
So say like you want to get the height of certain mountains. It has to be done with the flat plane as you referenced, correct?
Well, if you're referencing Al-Biruni and his methodology using a bit of trig, then yeah, he's referencing a flat plane. I don't tend to make a habit of going out and measuring the heights of mountains, Neil. But there are specific globe references to tie this back to John's point, refracted curvature's point. If you're going to infer sphericity, you're going to always measure a flat plane to do it. The calculations of a sphere come from flat plane measurements.
Well, I'm saying they have gotten the heights of all the mountains and hills and stuff like that. And how did they do that?
Yeah, we surveyed Earth flat.
It could not be done if we were on a ball.
Yeah, Earth surveyed flat. Navigated flat, charted flat, mapped flat.
Hey Neil, all of those mountains have one thing in common: sea level. They share the same baseline for the height.
Yeah, we've got a common reference. Is everyone aware that we've got a new housekeeping question?
Can we hear it?
Any evidence you can have pitch data on a globe?
Is there any evidence?
You can't. You need a horizontal plane for the pitch data.
I have evidence. Light. There's people flying out of LaGuardia, Kennedy Airport every day today, and they have pitch data. And if we weren't on a ball, there would not be any pitch data.
No, we're not asking about the acquisition of a piece of paper that's got pitch data as a heading to hand to someone else. We're talking about the data on the piece of paper with respect to pitch, Neil. That data requires a flat plane, not the piece of paper with the heading pitch data on it and getting it as you fly and saying, well, if I wasn't flying on a ball, I wouldn't be able to get this data. Well, let's have a look at the data and what that shows, because that's what we'll rely on. I like it, Neil. By devil's advocate, you can put yourself in the mind of a baller. We wouldn't be able to have this pitch data if it wasn't a ball. Show me how it would work on a flat Earth. What are you talking about?
Well, for pitch data to show to exist, then there would need to be a constant horizontal plane to reference to, covering the whole of the known Earth. Wouldn't there be? There's no way for it not to be, because planes fly in all directions. So the whole Earth would
That pretty much ended.
That power has to parallel with sea level. So that means sea level has to be a constant horizontal plane. It's that simple.
Well, it has to. It does. It is. Pitch data is horizontal with surface level. It is with respect to a plane. And it is dealing with heights with respect to sea level. It is dealing with your pitch above the horizontal. All roads lead to a flat Earth. There is no contesting, arguing, disputing what pitch data represents. Earth is flat.
Well, it's pretty much over now. I guess
It always was, Neil. It's just more and more discoveries of how overt a road would lead to flat Earth when we come across it. And lo and behold, it does lead to a flat Earth. Let's just see how well lit it is for others to look down the road, to walk along it. This is a very well lit road. Pitch data is exceptional. Really good evidence.
Yeah, so that's an excellent housekeeping question, because you could never have that sphere. It's an impossibility.
What it's suggesting in the way it's asked is, can you have this flat Earth evidence on a globe? That's why it's so nicely self-contained. Even as a housekeeping question, it's ace, isn't it? Any evidence you can have pitch data on a globe? No.
Yeah. See, anything they do is going to involve them having to come up with a straight line that is then over the course of a flight, that straight line has to constantly change its own pitch in relation to that original straight line. That's all.
This is Brian trying to say. Brian's trying to say you have to make it different to what it is.
Yeah, that's what they have to do. You have to bend reality. That's what you have to do to make it mathematically happen in your mind on a globe. Yeah.
Yeah, but even mathematically, you're not doing it. Like you're turning the plane of reference and affixing the stars is all you're doing. You're holding the celestial sphere constant and turning the plane of reference. It's still a plane of reference. That doesn't change.
Yeah, so what he's saying is if you do suggest that you ignore the data itself and then use the globe, well, what is the globe? Well, it's projected in a redundant or surplus to requirement manner, and the only actual function that's utilised in the inference that you can be travelling antipode to cause a problem with the pitch data that's flat is the celestial sphere. Well, fine, but if you're in the north or in the south, you're still flying over a flat plane and referencing what you got from a polarocentric system with regards to the angles to the stars that you're flying with respect to. So if you're going to say, well, these star positions or latitudes changing as I'm traversing the surface, and it's curved as a result. You're like, no. As 10th Man went through on Monday, the curvature is only with respect to the perspective view you get of the stars when plotting out the celestial sphere, not the globe. They can take that information and create a redundant globe inside the celestial sphere, but you're still on the flat plane. That would be the equatorial plane, now renamed, if you're going to do it in that way. But then the globe itself is just a protractor. It's completely surplus to requirements, and you're not flying over the surface of it.
Yeah, there's one thing, though, I would have to disagree with Hank there, and I can show why my disagreement exists, is that they still need a radius, whereas what he's showing doesn't give them a radius. They had to get the radius from the measurement of longitude to begin with, which was a horizontal measurement. They had to back calculate it from that. Then they could use the perspective view of the sky and use PZX triangles, whatever. They're not triangles, but three intersecting circles in the sky. They could do it then, but they needed to have that radius first. Otherwise, they have no particular size that they can place make those three intersecting circles the correct size for what they need them to be, and on the surface of a ball Earth, they need to know the radius of that ball Earth.
Yeah,
and they
like
get
on
that
screen.
from
It's on screen now.
elevation angles to Polaris.
Yeah, like on screen. You got to project through the ball, through the lights on the outside edge of this sphere. So the bigger sphere would have the stars on it. Well, you're projecting an angle from the plane that's bisecting this bigger and smaller sphere that's inside it, that's alleged to be the globe. But you're taking angles with respect to a plane in both regards. And what are the angles to? The stars. You've then created the globe inside that. So to create a PZX triangle on the surface of the sphere, they've got to match the projected angles from the centre. Correct, Brian? I'm just reiterating what you've just said. Oh, yes,
Yeah, I
Nathan.
mean,
Good summary.
Yeah, they can. That's exactly. They have to have a radius to place that what they're trying to create from the sky on to know what size of a thing they're placing that onto. So they need a radius first. But once they have back calculated that radius, then job's a good one.
Are you saying they get it from a great circle rather than the area of equal elevation minimum for Polaris? You said it was a longitude?
No, it's the great circle comes from the Polaris measurement. That's where they get the great circle from. If you measure a straight line distance from the GP point of Polaris to the equator, that's 5,400 nautical miles. If you go from the equator to 90 degrees south, that's another 5,400 nautical miles. That's one big horizontal line. That's what a longitude line is.
Right.
Now, if you look straight across in the North Pole at the next one, directly straight across from it, the next longitude line that's directly across from that one, let's just say, right, that's at it, right. If you take that measurement, right, from the North Pole to the South Pole, to the 90 degrees south, the opposite direction. Now, all you have to do is make the two south ends of those longitude lines meet underneath the North Pole, and you suddenly have a South Pole. When you make all the longitude lines do it, and that gives you a sphere of radius 3958 and change, which they rounded off to 3959.
Yeah, to do it, you need two antipodal planes. It's not just as simple as bending the lines down. You need to plot out the positions for the south, which are all distorted, with an inferred point.
It is just as simple as bending the lines down. That's all it is. You're just making a circle out of two straight lines. You have two measured straight lines that are opposing each other, and you're just making a circle out of those two lines.
Yeah,
that's
I
all
appreciate. I get that. That's why it's distorted, though, isn't it? If you're saying that's why all the points don't match, or not all the points, but a good chunk of them in the south don't match, is because they've basically pulled all points of longitude in the south to a point, and then just tried as best they can to tally it up with an inferred south celestial point in the sky, and then matched again as best they can all of the points that are referenced with GPs at given times. And Bob's your uncle. But the distortions come because you're saying they pull all the longitude lines to a point in the south.
Yeah, that's why what the globe shows is out of alignment with UTC time, chronometers, things like that, because they can't use that. Let's say if you're a sailor using a chronometer, you can't deal with Australia as having 3 time zones through it, because Australia only has actually one. If you're let's say between Newcastle and Perth, there's 2 hours of correct local time. That's what you have to deal with if you're using a chronometer. You can't say there's 3 when there isn't. There's only 2.
Right, and you're dealing with north with magnetic declination attached to match up with the distorted lines of longitude.
Well, they confuse people as much as possible. Do you know what I mean? They confuse people as much as possible and give people a load of complicated stuff to deal with. And that's why Hervé, the sailor, was even saying that it gets to a point where you're being sent in a direction that you're told is the direction you want to go, but you don't know you know what I mean? Just told magnetic declination says this is the way, kind of thing. When really what they're doing is they're changing your route. Bringing it to the same place, but changing your route, you know, this kind of thing.
Yeah, indeed. Certainly more prevalent to see that in the south than in the north. The north tends to just be okay, right?
Yeah, and there isn't, supposedly there is celestial navigation south of the equator is more difficult as well. And then more difficult than north of the equator because there isn't as many celestial bodies to use. This is what they say.
Not only is there less,
there's
as we've expanded, we've got less of them. But moreover, if the positions are distorted on the maps, then you're going to have problems.
Well, you have to. I mean, if you're dealing with Australia and you're sailing a big sailboat, you can't give it 3 or 4 time zones that it doesn't have. You know what I mean? You can't do that. If you're using a chronometer, then it can only have 2 time zones between Newcastle and Perth or Sydney and Perth. It can only have 2 time zones between those 2 points, or 2 time zones for those 2, you know, for that 2,000 miles or whatever. If you're trying, if that's what I did when I did it with the diagram, I made Australia the correct size, and I showed where it was on the map, and it's correct size, and there's only one longitude line going through between, let's say, Sydney and Perth. You know, but when it's stretched out, it's the same with Tahiti and Hawaii. Tahiti should be, if you look at the Gleason's map, Tahiti is in the next time zone over from Hawaii, but it shouldn't be. It's actually in the same time zone. But they've stretched it so much that Tahiti is now into the next time zone by basically making a globe out of flat plane measurements, and that's what happens. You know what I mean? If you want to try and match the globe to a flat plane, you end up with all them distortions south of the equator. And the more south you go, the more distorted it gets.
Right. We do actually have a video to cover today. So it's one that we were going to cover on, I think was it Monday that we were going to cover math? The math that proves the Earth isn't flat. Either event, we never actually got round to it because we did something else. I can't remember what. Anyway, we're going to cover this today. I can't remember who shared it with me. I think it was Vlad. Mush, did you share this originally?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was shared that on Sunday night. We were supposed to do it Monday, but we found a better one for Tuesday. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Did you finish the one from yesterday?
Yeah. The one with I can't remember her name.
Kim Iverson.
Something or other.
Kim Iverson.
Yeah. Yeah, we covered the whole video yesterday. Check out yesterday's show if you want to see that. It's got her face on the thumbnail. Can't miss it. Actually, because we covered it yesterday, I think her face is on this thumbnail also. So there you go. Anyway, let's have a look. What's this videographer called? Zach what? Zach Star. So please let Zach know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, as is typically the case when we cover a video. We like to send our audience their way to share in the YouTube algorithmic love, giving them comments and views and all the stuff that YouTube videographers want, in the vain hope that they'll do the same for us if they do a response. But please let them know with a polite comment with a @ and then Nathan Oakley 1980, all one word, sent me. And then if you've done that after the fact, if you're doing this with a later call to action and we're already halfway through the response video, or you already know what's coming, let them know. They covered X, you might be interested, or whatever it is that you feel will direct that videographer our way, so that they can at the very least check out what we're saying about them. So this video is called The Math That Proves the Earth Isn't Flat. Cool. So, yeah, please let them know. There's a link to them going by. There's 90-odd people, 91 people watching. So if you're amongst the live stream audience, please share the show. No, I'm only kidding. Go and let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And hopefully Zach will be responsive and receptive to your comment. In the past, people have come along straight after the show and left comments and made responses almost immediately. Other comments that people have left have been critiqued by QE. So it might be that your comment ends up getting on a public live stream. So just be aware. So be polite. And hopefully your comment won't immediately get just removed by the YouTube censor bots that don't like swearing and rudeness. Or indeed the videographer themselves. If you're rude to them, there's a good chance, if it was me, I'd probably just remove your comment. So don't be that person. Hopefully that's bought enough time for a few of you in the live stream audience to actually toddle along and let the videographer know that I sent you. Right. Who was it? Mush. Did you want to give us any preamble about this?
I haven't watched it, but I think it's going to be a good review video.
Outrageous. Right, let's get into it.
So
we'll have to I haven't sound checked this, so.
Years ago, Eratosthenes made a very accurate calculation for the circumference of the Earth. He had read that in Syene, Egypt, during the summer solstice at noon, vertical objects did not cast shadows, as in the sun was directly overhead, which is because that city is right by the Tropic of Cancer.
Well, what a great opener. Go on, no, go, feel free.
He invoked verticals with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. You can't use vertical if you're going to claim it's a sphere.
Boom. We all know where this is going.
But in Alexandria, he noticed on that day that vertical objects did cast shadows at roughly 7.2 degrees, which is...
With respect to a flat Earth, this is an elevation angle measurement. So we're taking an angle with respect to the shadow on a flat Earth. You will require a flat Earth for this. Earth is being measured flat with this. You just need a little bit of flat Earth to get you going. And then you can start talking about balls. But this is a flat Earth measurement, make no mistake. Earth is measured flat.
Is this angle here. Now, he assumed that Earth was a sphere, and all...
No, he did not. He just measured Earth flat. So what, he assumed that he was in hell with this angle, did he? Did he assume he was in hell? No, he was on the surface, measuring an angle with respect to it. It's called an elevation angle. He wasn't in hell. Now, making an assumption after measuring Earth flat is just kind of irrelevant and erroneous. It doesn't mean anything. What he did do is measure an elevation angle off a flat Earth. That's his only measurement. Now, after measuring Earth flat, he assumes he's in hell. Oh, dear.
Also, the sun is very far away.
Why would you assume that? He's just making an angle measurement. He doesn't have to assume its position in elevation. He just has to take an angle from it. Yeah? Measuring the angle because you're trying to determine where it's over, not how high it is.
Compared to the size of the Earth. And
sorry, how did we get the size of the Earth? I thought he was in hell measuring angles and deciding that light's coming in parallel. You've left that bit out.
That would mean that the sun rays are parallel.
Oh, I was just a little bit ahead of you, wasn't I, son? Yeah, we know your rhetoric pretty well. Go ahead, John.
Parallel. How would you measure this parallel? Shadows you speak of.
He was then...
He's disclaimed this all as assumption.
Right, but the parallel shadows will be measured with respect to a flat plane as well.
Yes.
Able to calculate...
Sorry, go on, I thought you were finished.
No, I was just saying even that assumption requires Earth to be flat.
The circumference of the Earth with very simple math, because parallel lines with a line through them mean this angle and this angle are the same.
So the angle we're measuring is with respect to this line. It says this line. All right, no. We haven't got any lines that are travelling to Earth, and the actual angle was measured off the surface. So what we're dealing with is the angle that you measured off the surface that you've got to justify being in hell, so it makes sense to derive circumferential values.
So the angle separating the two cities is 7.2 degrees.
No. You weren't rotating the protractor when you devised the angle between the cities. You weren't in hell for the angle. What you did do was measure Earth flat with the angle. This inference after the fact in cartoon form isn't going to change the fact that you are not in hell. You have no parallel inference. Even if you did, you'll need a flat Earth to reference it to.
He then had someone measure the distance between the two cities, which was
a distance. What, linear distance? You seem to have drawn a curved line. Why? No. If you're going to be measuring distance, it's going to be linear.
About 800 kilometers.
Kilometers are linear. You've drawn a curve. Do you not know what you're saying? How stupid it is to draw a distance in a curved fashion? Have you never used a map and a scale?
So because 7.2 degrees is
a flat Earth measurement,
is 2% of 360 degrees.
So what if you're rotating a protractor rather than travelling linear distances? And why you're rotating a protractor and describing an angle measurement of a flat Earth like it's the rotation of a protractor? Oh, because you decided that parallel light meant that he's measuring the angle in hell. No, 7.2 degrees is not 2% of anything. It's a flat Earth angle measurement. The protractor you use to measure it isn't the globe Earth that you're standing in for this example. This is exceptional. You just stumbled on this by accident. You should have said, oh yeah, I'll watch this. Definitely worth covering, Mush. Should have lied. This is exceptional. Great. Great work. You can show people how they blag you're in hell, lie about parallel light coming in to justify it, and measure Earth flat in the first instance.
Then the 800 kilometers would be 2% of the circumference of the...
No, kilometers are linear. They're not 2% of a circumference. Then they wouldn't be linear.
The Earth. Thus, the circumference is roughly 40,000 kilometers.
No, it's a violation of the original angle measurement. That's what the circumference is in this instance. If you're claiming it's the surface, then you're violating the surface you measured flat for the angle in the first place. Our resident mathematician. How you doing, Adam?
Afternoon, guys. Not too bad. What are we up to?
Measuring Earth flat.
And the actual circumference of the Earth is super close to that. His actual measurements gave something close.
Where do we get the actual measurements? Have we got something to compare to? Obviously, he's going to give us his reference, his baseline, the actual measurements, and where we got that next, right?
Closer to 39,000 kilometers, but still quite...
So where are we getting that number?
Impressive.
Impressive because you've compared it to an actual measurement? You've just taken a flat Earth angle. So where's the actual measurement? Because if it's impressive, I want to see the original reference that you're saying you're comparing it to. We're not going to do that.
Now, two things to note.
That you haven't given us a reference to compare it to demonstrate how impressive it is when you turn a linear distance in kilometers into something that curves because it's the outside edge of a protractor that you've called the globe Earth, with you measuring angles inside it. You're not in hell, mate. Is this clear? 7.2 degrees is not the rotation of a protractor. It's an angle measurement off the surface. Is everyone getting this? Earth's measured flat for this example of a globe Earth measurement.
First, this only works if the cities are on the same longitude line.
What's a longitude? Where do we get those?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you're going to need a flat Earth for these too. It's shocking how coincidental it is when Brian and I were only discussing it minutes before we started playing the video. How utterly useful. What a coincidence.
Or said another way, they're directly north and south of one another.
North and south? You can't use those words on a globe. They have north and south on a globe. They're with respect to a plane. Stop using our flat Earth language.
These cities are not, but they're pretty close. So that's one reason for the error along with human measurement. But second and...
Sorry, the measurement was off a flat plane. You're describing the angle as being in hell. Can you not see your own diagram? Was it not accurate when he was in the fiery, writhing hell pit? No, you justified it as somehow having light coming in parallel and then going to the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth and violating not only the original measurement but the linear distance in kilometres you gave.
More importantly, this does not prove the Earth is a sphere.
That proves it's flat. You measured it flat.
At least on its own.
On its own, you could just measured Earth flat. So if we're going to take anything to prove anything, it's going to be the measurements that you actually took off a flat Earth. So if this is proving anything, it's proving it's flat. Definitely, I mean, kudos. It's not proving Earth's a sphere. It's begging the question of a sphere and having you put angles you measured off a flat Earth in hell. In a presupposed globe. That is actually the protractor if the angle's inside it.
Does not prove the Earth's shape. Not even slightly. If the Earth were...
Well, I don't know about the word shape. Flat is an aspect, not a shape. It proves the aspect of the Earth that you measured is flat. It can't be anything else. That's how you measured it.
For a donut, we'd still find a difference.
This is non sequitur. Sorry, if you're putting the angle in the centre of the donut, you haven't got any hell to writhe in. If it's a polo mint.
Difference in shadow angles between...
So where's this angle vertices terminating? You know what an angle is, son? Two straight lines meeting at a vertex. So where's the vertex in your donut? Am I missing something? Do you not know what an angle is? It's not measured inside a donut or measured inside a sphere. Then the donut becomes a glorified protractor also, doesn't it? What you are doing is measuring an angle with a protractor on the surface. But then you haven't got an angle to get if the surface is curved. You haven't got two straight lines. It violates the definition of an angle. Two straight lines meeting at a vertex.
Two different locations at the same time. That's just gonna happen if the surface is curved. But let's say the Earth were flat. Well, if the sun is directly over one place at a certain time, where...
Right, your example's the same. This is the same as last time. Yeah, they're both angle measurements.
No shadows are cast.
Why are you telling us about what the shadows would do? You're measuring the shadows flat in both instances, aren't you?
And the sun is not super far away, then also, obviously, it's going to cast a shadow on a vertical object at a different location.
You haven't got vertical objects on a globe. See how these two things are parallel with one another? That doesn't happen on a globe. You see how you've got an angle off a flat surface? That doesn't happen on a globe either. And it didn't happen on your first example. Notice how we pointed out that you were measuring a flat Earth there? Well, you're still measuring a flat Earth here. You're just saying because the sun isn't doing something that it would do if it was flat. You're measuring it flat in both instances, dum-dum.
At that same time. So Eratosthenes' observation could also tell us the Earth is flat and the sun...
No, it's measured flat in both instances. It only showed Earth flat. And then you made some assumptions about being in hell and stuff. Please let Zach know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Feel free to let him know. Your examples measured Earth flat. His link is going by in the YouTube chat right now, so please let him know. With a polite comment, just lets him know we've responded to his video and thank him for showing how Earth is always measured flat. It doesn't really matter how you assume the sun shouldn't be doing this when we measure it flat, but is doing that, therefore we're measuring it flat, but could be a sphere if I put myself in hell. Go ahead, Neil.
I said, isn't it funny how my Bluetooth is acting up? Isn't it funny how they say it could also work on a flat Earth?
It only works on a flat Earth. It's an angle measurement. Both of them were.
Yeah, but they thought like this could also work on a flat Earth. No, it can only work on a flat Earth.
Correct.
It can never happen on a ball.
Yeah, the inference after the fact violates the original measurement. So when you say, oh, well, this can be calculated into a globe, if I just assume I'm inside a globe, and I'm inside a globe because all the light comes in parallel, and I'm assuming that the Earth's a sphere. Sorry, so number one, you're begging the question of the thing you're trying to prove. Number two, you're violating the angle you took off a flat surface. And number three, you're now writhing in hell, and the Earth is now the protractor you measured with. But that works. No, it doesn't. You violated the original angle measurement. Meaning that when you ascribe distance like kilometres to it, you've suddenly got them curving when they're linear. everything about it breaks when you claim the Earth's a sphere. Meanwhile, if you just take angle measurements off the surface, you can derive all of the maps and systems that we use to navigate. That's how they work. So, what, it doesn't work on a flat? No, it only works on a flat Earth. Could work on a flat Earth? No, it only works on a flat Earth.
Is much closer than we think. And that's...
No, he's talking about what the sun should or shouldn't be doing as he measures Earth flat. And because the sun is or isn't doing something, it's not flat, as he measured it flat in both instances. Who cares what the sun's doing? It does what it does, and we're taking angle measurements with respect to it.
That's what flat earthers believe. And now we're going to see why it's wrong. We're going to use the same numbers Eratosthenes found, which anyone can find themselves, at least during the next summer solstice. But we'll assume for now the Earth is flat and the sun is close-ish.
Who cares how far it is? Makes no difference. You can't measure its height. You can't acquire it. So to infer it, we'd chastise you as a flat earther if you were to infer this. It's obviously a straw man. We're not claiming this. We're pointing out the angle measurement's always flat. But you're now talking about what the sun does and how it should or shouldn't behave based on what the Earth and its surface. You're talking about the sun now. Oh, well, if we assume it's close, doesn't matter how far it is, it does what it does.
So here's Syene, which the sun is directly overhead, casting no shadows. And here's Alexandria, 800 kilometers away, where...
So notice he's got his straight distance. Yeah? Yeah. Linear. 800 kilometers, you say? Yeah, you'll need a flat Earth for that too.
Shadows cast at an angle of 7.2 degrees from the vertical.
Yeah, with respect to a vertical.
Angle?
Angles with respect to vertical. Verticals with respect to horizontal perpendicular to it. You're going to need a flat Earth for this. So is it somehow going to change? Because we've already seen the globes version of this and it's the same, isn't it? Yeah? Angle measurements off a flat Earth. So...
Well, if we assume...
Go on.
If we assume that there is a knowable distance to something that's defined as unknowable within our diagram, we can then prove the horizontal plane is not a horizontal plane.
Yeah, exactly. I've put it the other way, which is you've got to violate the original measurement. You do assume, you will assume, and they have assumed, and that's how it's done, a flat plane in the first instance. But you're suggesting it the other way around. What, you assume that you're not measuring a flat plane? Well, then you've got no starting point.
Well, you know the way they say, oh, that the celestial bodies are an infinite distance away. And they say this because they need to make a mitigation as to why when you rise in altitude, the celestial bodies appear to rise with you, right? Or when you lower, they appear to lower with you. Kind of funny, a bit like the horizon. But the thing is that, why do they say this? For a start, there's no such thing as infinite. So they just won't admit that they have no idea what they are. But they're trying to give them some kind of tangibility. So when they say they're an infinite distance away, that's giving them tangibility. Like, you know what I mean? You're basically saying they're tangible without knowing that. Because for them to be a distance, they'd have to be tangible, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Yeah. How do you determine the distance to something if it doesn't have any tangibility?
Right. That's like trying to figure out where the pot of gold is on a rainbow. That's what he's trying to do right now. And because he can't find the pot of gold, Earth isn't flat. That's crazy. Exactly. Yeah, it's nonsense, isn't it? It's like, what about if we started claiming as flat earthers that the celestial bodies are at an adequate distance away, right? They'd be up in uproar if we start. They're just at an adequate distance away, right? We don't know what this. It's just an adequate distance. Never come up with an actual distance. Just an adequate distance.
I think it was Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce used to describe. You know where people put on their stats how much horsepower the engine's got, right? I think that's what Rolls-Royce used to put. Instead of a number, they'd put adequate.
Yeah, how popular would that statement be with our opposition? They'd be in uproar about it, wouldn't they? Because we're making a statement that would suit us in a debate against them at that point. You know, we're not giving any distance. We're just saying it's an adequate distance.
Sufficient.
But it's okay for them.
They're at a sufficient distance.
Sufficient, yeah. But it's all okay for them to make the claim that they're an infinite distance away, which is still a distance.
They're double speaking. They not only have them, or must have them when they're in the celestial sphere by reference with angles, infinitely distant, because there is no distance. They don't have a distance. That's nonsense. That's not part of their aspect. That's not part of their being. It's not part of their useful nature. If it was, they wouldn't be useful in the way we use them. If they changed angle as we raised up, they wouldn't be useful anymore. We wouldn't navigate with them. Because they don't, who cares why they don't? For them, they've got ascribed distances and the need to have them be infinite, both simultaneously.
Which can't be possible. Infinite is unknowable by definition.
Right. But
So,
in a perspective view, you can plot them on a sphere and say that that's an infinite distance. It's just a conceptual way of describing them when you plot them on a sphere in the celestial sphere model.
And we can use this information to find how far the sun is in this model.
So let me get it straight. You've not only shown that we measure it flat in both instances, now you're suggesting that when we do this, we're trying to find out how high the sun is. So previously we weren't trying to do that when we were trying to reference a globe that we assumed we were riding in hell to get angles that we got off a flat surface to square the circle of a globe we've assumed. But now we're trying to get the height of the sun. I think you're mixing up your straw men.
If we add some lines, we see two similar triangles.
What, like you would on the globe surface? No. Yeah, you're getting angles and triangles for both examples, and both require Earth be flat for the measurement. They're both flat Earth measurements. But now the angle measurement is to get the sun's height and get it to be local. And nobody needs it to be local. It's just a straw man.
So we could do a ratio, but I'm just going to use the fact that this angle is 82.8 degrees. So tangent of that equals the height of the sun over 800 kilometers plus d. But d is just the length of the shadow.
Even within his rhetoric, they don't think they have the actual height with respect to a flat plane. So why is he trying to do this again?
So it's a straw man to say, look, they can't get the height. It's like originally we're not proving a sphere by disclaimer, but now we're not dealing with the surface. We're getting the height of the sun by a straw man that flat earthers can't do. So neither can you. So this process is no different on either. You've shown it the same on both. Both were angle measurements off the flat surface. But you can't get the height. I'm not saying you can get the height. You say it's 93 million miles / infinite. But using this method, it turns out that your method is flawed for the height you need to make a claim about being 93 million miles or infinite. So you've got a height measurement that doesn't work with this process that does work. It's an angle off a flat surface, just not for measuring the height of the sun. And we're not claiming you should. But you are. What's that? No, it's you doing this. No, this is a straw man, but you are doing it, aren't you? Literally. I'm not doing this, you are. Therefore, you take ownership of this, regardless of your straw man nature. So it fails to give you the height. Well, that buggers up you saying it's 93 million miles / infinite, if you're going to use this process as you are, in spite of telling the audience, deceptive, that it's me that can't do this. It's the same method for both. So we're definitely measuring flat earth angles, and it definitely works. It's definitely used. It was used when you inferred longitude. Where do you think that came from?
This is very not to scale, but that distance might be a few feet or meters, depending on the height of the building, but still nothing compared.
So what building would that be? Is this guy just mixing up his shite? What building? Height of the building? Aren't we trying to get the height of the sun?
Shadow on this.
Say again.
He's talking about the whatever object that will cast a shadow.
Oh, he's using the object in the... Yeah, fine.
Compared to 800 kilometers, so we can just ignore it. Then we solve this, and we get the height of the sun is about 6,332 kilometers.
Is it? What happens if you raise up a few feet? Does the angle change? No, it doesn't. Oh, well, that invalidates everything you've just said. I mean, I know that as a flat earther, but you inferring this... What about if you measured the height of the sun at a different time of day with a reduced angle? What if you measured it at sunset? Is the height of the sun 1 kilometer from smashing into the... This is stupid.
1 kilometer.
For reference, the International Space Station is just
an object that's claimed to be in a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum. If this area that's blue is the area that they claim the ISS is in, and this is a containerless high-pressure system, then we'd have never developed pressure. The gas on the surface would dissipate into this area, and everybody on the surface would be choking to death, because these share the same volume, don't they? So the gas would fill the space. So whatever you now suggest about this tin can in a sky vacuum will be automatically debunked by the second law of thermodynamics. If the sky was a vacuum, blue area, then the gas we breathe would fill the space in line with entropic dispersion law.
Just over 400 kilometers away.
Sorry, 400 kilometers is with respect to a flat plane. That's its height above sea level, if you're going to infer it. Now, you're not going to, because you don't know what the ISS is. But you're going to have your just so story where it's a tin can in a sky vacuum, and its height will be from sea level. So you'll need a sea level for this up to be perpendicular to. And it is absolutely described from sea level. So you need sea level. You need a flat earth for this. There is no up on a ball to give you 400 kilometers away from. You need perpendicular to a horizontal plane to give you up, to give you height. And how is height described? That would be elevation from sea level. So you need a flat earth for this up and height. My God. Do you want to hijack any more flat earth conceptions? In this case, altitude and elevation. Because you just keep using flat earth only descriptions. Like this. 400k. That's from a flat earth. Go ahead, Brian.
The Eratosthenes trick is very good. Because they have people measuring off a flat plane, getting the angle they need from a flat plane, getting a distance from a flat plane, or the distance along a flat plane, I should say. And then they have them denying the very plane they use to get the measurement. When you go through the whole circle of it, you end up back, if you follow their logic, you end up back on a globe, denying that the surface that you're on had to be flat or horizontal to make the measurement you made to measure the globe. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so convoluted, but it's a brilliant trick. You know what I mean? People are so easily fooled where they laugh at the idea of a flat earth. Yet that's the very thing they needed to make the measurement to come up with an ad hoc radius for a globe that they're not on. Pretty good, pretty good.
Way. So the sun would be about 15 times further than that in the flat earth model.
Height above sea level is true for everyone. There is no height above globe level. It seems like you have different points off a sphere for your heights. Yeah, that's why they're both with respect to the same horizontal plane of reference. So if you zoom in on this picture, what you'll notice is he's got this point coming down from the sun at a different point, which all points on a sphere would be. Well, you can't have them individually referenced with their height, that's elevation. A kilometre references to curves. Nobody references heights above curve level. There is no such thing, it's an oxymoron. It's height above sea level. Hence this fails on a globe, but is absolutely a prerequisite to describe the elevation always for everyone. You'll need a flat earth for this. Earth is and always will be measured flat. You just keep using our flat earth only references. For example, but not limited to, this example, height. It's elevation off sea level.
And that is a problem. Let's see why. First of all, at noon, if you're in a place where the sun is right above you, then as we found, the sun is 6,332 kilometers away from you. But how far away would it be at sunset or sunrise? Well, according to this...
Doesn't that balls up your entire base principle, because then the angle's changed? I had it laughingly crashing into the horizon at sunset. You seem to have failed to mention that. That changes the angle, doesn't it?
The sun and moon never change height. They just move.
Well, there's a baseless assertion for you. What's the sun? How high is it to say it doesn't change that height that you don't know? So far, you, not me, have given us 3. 6,000 odd K, 93 million miles, and infinite. Now, none of these are my claim. I know the angle doesn't change as you raise an elevation, which means it has a property that you can't ascribe physical height to. And when you tried to do it, your methodology was so flawed. Oh, you didn't even notice your own flaw, did you? You put it at sunset. What a clown. Have you thought this through?
You know, when a calculation contradicts measurement, you can be sure that calculation is wrong.
In a circle. And if we stop it here.
And what's this? This looks like an azimuthal, equidistant, North Pole centric globe projection. Why are you telling me about what the sun and moon do on a quote flat earth, according to this straw man, where you derive the height in a fallacious manner that's flawed to give a value that doesn't match the other 2 values you also claim, infinite and 93 million miles? Why are you using a globe projection? This is a globe projection. It distorts the lines of longitude described earlier by Brian quite excellently, I might add, and projects them out to a point where you have what is described as Antarctica, an ice island, projected out in this circle. I mean, that's its distorted manner when you project out a globe in a conical manner, North Pole centric. I mean, why is he strawmanning us with this? I don't get it. He just hasn't done his research, has he? You haven't done your homework.
This would be sunset in Egypt, where the sunlight is about to go away, which happens when the sun is actually over South America.
Okay, in the distorted south part. Okay. If this is a fail, it's a fail for a globe projection.
Okay, so if you're in Egypt on the summer solstice at noon, then the sun is this far above your head. On that same day, at sunset, the sun is above maybe Brazil, which is, let's say, 10,000 kilometers away.
So a linear distance along a flat plane, but we're now describing not the angles that we measured in Alexandria or Cyan, but the height reference above these places. How is that practically applied? Is that what he was doing when he made the measurements off a flat Earth with angles? It's a straw man.
Yes.
Dead.
It's going to the sky.
Using the Pythagorean theorem, that means the sun is now 11,836 kilometers away from you. It got almost twice as far compared to noon.
So the original derivation of its height using an angle is now ignored, and then you put it at that height at your zenith. It wasn't at your zenith when you measured its height with an angle, but now when you put it over a different distance and apply a linear flat Earth distance to it based on its height, you can derive a different triangle on a flat Earth. Okay, this is riddled.
That means at noon, the sun should appear to be about twice as big compared to...
Sorry, now we've got its actual representation based on its perspective view in perspective size. That's angular size, would be twice the size. Why? Where's he getting this from? This is so disjointed. Does he think he's being smart by just convoluting 3 different examples together?
Sunset or sunrise, because it's about half the distance away.
But originally we're deriving radial values with flat Earth measurements. Now we're getting height above various positions with an inferred angle-derived height above a plane with angles and linear distances. This is crap.
But that's not what anyone observes. The sun does not change size at all throughout the day.
Does it not? I've got plenty of demonstrations of the perceived angular size with filters changing of the sun. What are you babbling about? So if I can debunk that, I debunk your method. I could debunk it already, and it all relied on having flat Earth angle measurements applied, even in the straw man of the sun.
Definitely not by that factor.
So because the sun doesn't change in angular size, Earth's not flat. That's his conclusion, isn't it? Am I missing something? Did I miss a step? Because the sun doesn't change in angular size, it can't be the height flat earthers say when we derive a height with a fallacious angle, therefore Earth isn't flat. I'm pretty sure I included everything. Am I wrong? In this shitty straw man?
That's about it, yeah.
Oh, that's pathetic.
Everyone on Earth sees the sun as the same size, and that can only happen if it's very far away relative to the size of the Earth. So that alone...
Where'd you get the size of the Earth? From flat plane angle measurements? That's where you derived your radial value. But you said that it wasn't giving you the shape of Earth. So when you inferred it in hell, where'd you say it's comparable when you give this fallacious argument for angular representations of the sun not changing, therefore it can't be a flat plane when we compare the angles on a flat plane for the height that we decided it would be when we use one fixed angle and ignored the fact that it gets closer to the horizon or above our head at our zenith?
Contradicts a sun that's nearby, which contradicts...
Oh, well, therefore, if it's not nearby, Earth's not flat.
The flat Earth model.
Right, genius. You're a total idiot.
And if you're going to say, well, the sun is bright, so it's hard to see its true size...
Sorry, I'm a flat earther, and at no point do I stand up and make this stupid idiot claim that you're using to burn as a straw man. Do I go around like a total idiot saying, see how bright the sun is? You know why that is? It's because Earth's flat. And they turn around and go, nah, it would be much bigger if Earth were flat. What kind of demented conversations do you think I have as a flat earther? You think I'm looking at the sun? No. If I was at all altitudes measuring the sun to find out where the hell I was if I was lost, for the sake of argument, I'd be using its angle with respect to a plane to establish my location with tried and true methods of angle measurements off flat planes, like you used. So we're proving Earth's measured flat. That's very useful for not dying and stuff.
Well, everything I just said applies to the moon as well. The fact that the moon does not change size by nearly a factor of 2 throughout a single day proves it cannot be as close as this model predicts.
But models don't make predictions. Number one. Number two, this is not a model. It's an azimuthal, equidistant, North Pole-centric globe projection. You don't even know what model means. Oh, what a dingbat. So because the moon doesn't change its size, Earth's not flat because of this model. This is crap. He's not even summarising his own crappy point that he's ambled his way along. I've done a better job of summarising it. Now we're juxtaposing it with it can't be this model. Right, okay.
And since I'm showing math here,
since I'm showing math... God, I'm turning into QE. Every second word has to be addressed. You're not showing math. You're showing an azimuthal, equidistant, North Pole-centric globe projection. That's what you're showing. Math.
Angular size of objects actually does not change in direct proportion to how close they are.
My God, did he just deny perspective? Stuff doesn't change in angular size based on how far away it is. So if I hold up a little toy cow and show you out the window a full-size cow in the distance, and they look pretty much the same size, you're going to hold true with that statement that you just made. Let's just hear that again.
And since I'm showing math here, the angular size of objects actually does not change in direct proportion to how close they are. It's easy to see in the 2D case, like here the angular size of the object is 90 degrees. That's how much of the field of view is taken up. If the distance to the object is halved, well, the angular size is obviously less than 180 degrees.
Are you crapping me? He's giving us a perspective demonstration in an orthographic view. You having me on?
Yeah. There's no perspective in orthographic view.
This guy is thick as... I haven't got a beep.
So it did not double in size.
What the hell are you babbling about, you complete idiot?
However, this approximation is very accurate.
Is it really? So when describing my perspective view, do I or do I not typically see the side of my own head? Please let Zach know that what he thinks is an accurate description of perspective includes him seeing the side of his own head. You stupid boy. Link to Zach's video with his demonstrable idiocy is going by in the live stream chat right now. There's well over 100 people watching. Please let Zach know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Try and be polite. Try, do your best to not berate his utter stupidity for this. Accurate? Yeah, generally when I'm describing how I see things in perspective, I don't use examples of seeing a small cow close up and a big cow far away. I'd describe seeing the side of my own head. What a clown!
When the object is very far away relative to its size, which is the case for the sun and moon. They only take up about...
Where's the side of my own head in this actual view of reality with the moon in it? So I don't seem to see my own head, mate. What's happened? Was your very accurate maths suddenly not matching up with reality because there's no side of my own head? What's going on? Did you not observe that in your own editing? Did you not see the disconnect that's happening right now? You stupid boy.
Half a degree in our field of view.
Field of view? Do I generally have my own head in my field of view with your very accurate orthographic representation? What a dingbat.
The way I like to think about it is
with orthographic views and being in hell.
With arc length. A piece of the circumference.
You like to think about arc lengths, do you? Sorry, Brian. A distance is given in arc lengths.
Fair enough.
Why do you like to think of distances as arc lengths, you stupid boy? Why would you like to think of angles being in hell, you stupid clown? Is it because that's what your globe religion taught you?
Circumference of a circle is calculated simply as
Nathan.
S equals R theta.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah. Every single part, and this is always the way with this same type of video about Eratosthenes and the celestial bodies in general. Every single part of their attack on us, on the flat earth, involves the celestial bodies being tangible items that they can give a distance to. Every single time they attack us, it's always that. It's like you don't have any tangibility that you can prove or disprove, and you can't measure a distance to something. It's if as you rise, the angle to it doesn't change. That means you have zero knowledge to work with. All you have is the terrestrial angle. That's it. So every single one of these straw man arguments that they build up, they're all based off of the pre-assumption that they're looking at a tangible object, which they might be. I don't know what it is, but all I know is you can't measure a distance to it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I mean, you chuckled when I described it becoming near the horizon, but you were the first to point that out to me, because I'd never really considered it. But do you want to just break that down? I mean, I did it in a very jovial, summary type manner.
What do you want me to break down?
Just explain how his method's flawed when he's acquiring the angle, a fixed point above cyan, and taking that measurement and suggesting that he can extrapolate out the height. Like, what happens when you do the same exact measurement and the sun's at sunset?
Yeah, well, I mean, that means the height is going to be completely different. If he does it an hour later or an hour beforehand, he's going to get a different height if he does it that way. You can't use using trigonometry to gain a height to a celestial body, or with the celestial bodies in that way off of the terrestrial surface of Earth, is working outside the convention. And the convention exists in the way it exists because it has to exist that way. Because the celestial bodies do not behave like terrestrial objects. So you can't treat them like that.
Precisely.
But more to the point, to pull this apart, and I should have really said it earlier, but now is probably a better time. What happens when the moon is over the well in Cyan? And it's at the same point, height above the Earth for someone in Alexandria. happens then? And your measurement is 7.24 degrees.
I've just
What
gone through
happens
the
then?
rest of his video. It's just the same piss in a different bottle all the way through the video. No,
Yeah,
it's just,
because it's bad moon shadow at that point.
yeah, but what I'm just
Bad
saying
moon
is
shadow. Oh, the whole heliocentric model falls apart with that.
the entire thing is your typical begging the question, perspective hijacking, and utilization of orthographic view, moving angles to hell. I mean, it's what he's doing. At various different points, he's describing angle acquisitions off flat planes. But in terms of
can I just make the point with the bad moon shadow? Just
go ahead.
Just people that may not be aware of it.
Sorry, it's because I'm well aware of it. Yes, go ahead. Good point.
Yeah, because people may not realize why it destroys heliocentrism. And just for this guy, when the moon is in the same position above the well in Cyan, which it will be at some point in the year, and it's at the same angle for somebody because it's at the same height above the same perceived height above the terrestrial Earth as the sun, and the angle from Alexandria to the moon at that point is 7.24 degrees. What does that mean? That means that I could claim that the moon is over 860,000 miles in diameter and 93 million miles away, and the sun is about 1,000 or 2,000 miles in diameter and 35,000 miles away. Or sorry, 135,000 or whatever it is in the globe model. Or I could claim both of them are both really big and far away. Like they're both over 800,000 miles in diameter and they're both 93 million miles away. Or I could claim both of them are small and local. And nobody, and I mean nobody, can disprove it. Because the bad moon shadow tears apart all what they need for their heliocentrism. Because even the shadow angles from their moon, right, and as it was pointed out to me after the presentation, the shadow angles from their moon will give you the same shadows as their sun. So the sun doesn't need to be that big and far away because you'll get the exact same shadows if it was in the position of the moon or on their globe. So the whole lot falls apart. They literally can't then prove that the moon is not where the sun is claimed to be in their paradigm and the sun is not where the moon is, or they're both both where the sun is, or they're both just small and local over a flat plane. And they can't argue because they have nothing.
This is a presentation I would love with actually, video documentation from, like, imagine during the right time, like three of us got together and really, recorded some things.
You're going to have to be more specific. Bloody hell, you and Neil.
Yeah, that's
be less vague.
How the hell is that vague? We talk about bad moon shadow in theory, right? Or in, you know what I mean? Instead, like, okay, so for 99% of the community, the Black Swan is the presentation we gave. For me, the Black Swan is when I went to Coney Island Beach. That's what I'm saying. Turn bad moon shadow into a real situation.
Yeah, but it's kind of, for what we're using it for, it's kind of like what the real situation is when you see the full moon out. Do you want the real situation? When you see the full moon out, right, and you see the shadows, or it doesn't have to be a full moon, but just the full moon is the best for the shadows. And you see all the shadows that the full moon creates. That's the exact same shadows as the sun. It's so much exact.
Doesn't it have to be on the equinox or something?
Perfectly. Just one second. I just want to say it's so much exact that, as Adam found out, the full moon works perfectly with a sundial. There's even a moon dial that is a sundial, but it takes in the phases of the moon. But it's exactly the same. So that's impossible within their paradigm. For their paradigm to hold true as it is. Go on, Peter.
Does it have to be done like at a specific time of year? Like
no,
if we were going to do
You've got to make sure you've got enough moonlight to be able to cast a shadow. So any time of the year is fine, as long as there's sufficient ability to generate a shadow on your Vavel, as they're called, for the moon.
Well, then that kills them then.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so.
Well, It kills them because their claim is that the sun, for the shadows that Eratosthenes referenced, the sun had to be 93 million miles away and over 800,000 miles in diameter or whatever, right? But this proves that the same exact shadows are created by the moon, even though, in fairness, geometrically, those exact same shadow angles will work with their moon, right? Once you go from the center of their moon, it will work with their moon hitting the surface of their globe, right, and give them the same shadows. There's only a small little tiny bit in it, but it's basically imperceivable, right? It's a small little bit in it with our globe, but it's basically imperceivable. Whereas in reality, there is no, it's completely imperceivable. So the point being is that their initial claim is that their globe was measured by Eratosthenes, and the reason they know it's a globe is because the sun is really big and far away. But the moon being able to give them the exact same shadows means the sun is not big and far away. There's no evidence. Like, if you know what I mean, not that they had any evidence to begin with, but the whole claim falls apart. Because they can't prove, if I said that that moon is 93 million miles away and over 800,000 miles in diameter, and the sun we see is only 135 or 35,000 miles away and 1 or 2,000 miles in diameter, they literally can't disprove that. I could say we're on a globe and the moon and the sun are switched, basically, and they can't disprove it. That, you know what I mean? That means, or I can put both of them, make both of them really big and make both of them 93 million miles away, and they can't disprove that. I can place myself on a globe and do that, and they can't disprove that. Or I can say they're both small and local over a flat plane, and they can't disprove that. But I can prove, right, with the shadows from both the full moon and the sun, or just the moon in general, but the full moon is best, that the shadows are exactly the same.
Yeah, I can hear them saying, at best, you just debunked the distance we claim the sun and the moon are.
yeah, at best you just debunked the whole heliocentrism, the whole heliocentric paradigm. I mean, models are there to be broken. You know, this kind of rubbish you'll get off them. No, it's just you don't have anything. Your whole paradigm is a fraud. And we haven't mentioned the flat plane yet that we're taking all these angles off.
Oh, they totally forgot about the flat plane.
Yeah. See, no matter what you do, you're going to need that flat plane. No matter what you do, that's required, number one. That's step one, flat plane. For any celestial measurement, flat plane. Any measurement of height, flat plane. For GPS, flat plane. You can't go without it. Aerospace, flat plane. You can't not have the flat plane. That's required. That's step one.
Did we lose Nathan?
I don't think so.
Accidentally didn't open my line and didn't mute the others. They've all stopped working. Wonderful stuff. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, though, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
You were indicted in your absence yesterday.
That was I. I love when that happens. How so?
I think you've gone soft. You drop your standards just so you can have a lovely loving with you, Betty and Whitsett, and agree to disagree. It's just beautiful. It's just so emotionally fluffy.
No, I think Whitsett got him. You used to love me. I think that kind of plucked his little strings there. Is that how it's working, QE?
I didn't hear the charges for the indictment just yet. Can
There
somebody
wasn't
give me
an
the charge?
Oh, you will, don't worry.
Oh, you will.
We're still doing the book later. About 7 o'clock again, Adam. Is that good?
Yeah, good with me. I'm just out delivering at the moment. So, but I'll be done with plenty of time for that. So, yeah.
Perfect.
What time? Now it's not perfect.
3.5 hours from now. Is that right? Or 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 3.5 hours.
Earlier,
Hold on. Oh, I thought it was Neil. Go on, Adam.
if I get done earlier, I'll be at home earlier, so I can start earlier. I've only said 7 because I thought I was working till 6, but because I'm out delivering, I'll be done before then. So it's it's up to you. I'll be probably another hour,
Oh, okay.
and then I'm free after that.
So let's make it 90 minutes from now. Would that be all right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I should be back and done by then. Yeah.
So say 5 o'clock
Okay.
our time then, Adam. 5 p.m. Just in case.
Is that 90 minutes from now?
Yeah, well, give or take. Right, it's 100 minutes from now, but yeah, give or take.
Yeah, somewhere. Oh, yeah. That's fine.
Is Whitson invited?
Yes.
All right. All right. Let's get back. Let's get back to the indictment.
There was no indictment.
Yeah, they said I was indicted yesterday. I was the judge.
Yes, I was.
I was the judge yesterday, by the way, and adjudicated a fair and reasonable.
Did you shitters like? You shat it, you got out there as quick as you could, and you didn't even hear the evidence before you'd given your judgment. It was the most.
I did hear it. I played all the evidence.
Absolutely shocking. And then you interpreted the evidence in the most woolly, woke manner I've ever heard.
What evidence about what?
I'm so mad I missed it.
What are we talking about?
I think yesterday.
Judge Judy over there. Judge Judy over there. Judge Judy and his rights.
Judy.
Judge Judy.
Well, Judge Judy tends to be very fair and balanced, I've found. What's wrong with Judge Judy?
Yeah. Is it 4 minutes to Wapner?
That's what I was thinking.
He's old.
I'm not hearing any charges. I'm sorry.
Well, I put it this way: I give you an A for fairness and an F for the ceremony.
You don't use that. That's copyrighted.
I'll completely exonerate you of any of the charges that Brian's raised by giving this nonsensical summary A for effort, F for performance, because you're lovely and we don't want to upset you, so we'll give you some good scores. Everybody gets a badge at the end of the day because we don't want anybody to feel left out. Yeah? A for effort and an F for that shithousery? No. You've got some.
Yeah.
I thought it was right on point.
Nathan, everyone got a participation medal.
In other words, quantum eraser, it's not possible that you're actually able to judge something correctly because it's clear that I'm a enemy sympathizer, and if you get that wrong, you're clearly defunct in your moral and intellectual.
That's obvious.
Let's not conflate the two issues. Your aggressive behaviour to Brian is very separate to QE dropping his standards so he could get out and go shooting.
I didn't go shooting. I was trying.
He didn't drop his standards. That's what you guys don't get.
But we're not addressing it to you. We're addressing QE. He doesn't need another white knight saviour from the Black Lagoon AI to come in with his great knowledge and justification of fairness to come in and resolve issues that have got feck all to do with it. A bit like the other day.
There's a load of friggin' copyright infringements going on here.
I don't understand what's going on at all. I love it.
Yeah. Well, you weren't there yesterday, so it was yesterday after my train wreck of a show that didn't go off.
John,
Oh, it didn't happen yesterday either.
No.
What happened?
Internet.
I'll fill everyone in. What happened?
So I didn't.
Sorry.
Hold on. Let's get some background. So I didn't drop to go shooting. I dropped to complain about my ISP, and then I'm going to remove their charter. So in less than 24 hours. Well, no, about 24 hours from now, their charter will be removed.
You tried
We're going to try
off and on
fiber
again.
this time. Say again?
The router.
Not the router.
The router.
So, yeah, I know. I tried to speak his own language. Yeah, no, it's done for. So we're gonna go to fiber. Treated me well 20 years ago. Let's see how it treats me this time. So that's where I went. Now, where?
That's a red herring if I ever heard it.
I didn't go. Yeah, it's not a red herring because I didn't go shooting. You said I went shooting. That's some bullshit. So, but where's these charges? What's the indictment? Can somebody send it to me?
The indictment was that you became extremely woke.
Woke?
That's the indictment.
No one's more woke than you.
Judge woke.
So now it's on the judge?
Judge woke!
I think the
Judge
charges,
Oakley.
as I've been able to understand them, is that you're an sympathizer.
Yeah, the judge didn't
Somebody
agree with
say-
them, so clearly the judge is defunct.
Hey, did somebody say Judge Wokley? Did somebody say that?
I said Wokeling. Judge Wokeling.
I thought he said Wokley.
Well, it can be Wokley if you want.
That was a good one. All right. Judge Wokley. What's the indictment? You can't indict the judge. Can you?
Oh, yes, we can. The judge's decision was made before any evidence was presented. When the evidence was presented, then, even though it was shocking to the judge, he had to hold on to his same judgment that he had already made.
How can the evidence shut up, Neil? How can the evidence not be presented, and then after the evidence was presented to the judge, you just contradicted yourself?
Because you had your mind made up.
You just contradicted yourself.
No, what I said is that the judge had his judgment made before he heard the evidence, and then he heard the evidence.
No, that's incorrect. That's incorrect.
No, it's not. No. You would made your mind up beforehand.
No, I did not. I listened to the evidence.
Yeah, there's.
You got it, QE, and I actually agree with you, QE, because you actually said that you hadn't made up your mind, but based on what you know so far, this would be your assessment. But I will wait for the evidence. Where's the clip?
Yep.
And then we played the clip, which, to me, really brought into question QE's judgment. Yeah, severely. For him to have heard that, even he was shocked at actually how bad your demeanor was, AI. And yeah, that's why we're questioning the judgment of it. Yeah, because it was already made. QE's aghast at how vile your behaviour was. Yeah, and then doesn't affect it, and still gives this rather
fair.
judgment
Here's the
where
problem.
it gives you I'm talking still. Yeah, still talking.
Yeah, but you take forever. That's the problem. Hurry up.
Why don't
No,
you
he's just not finished
You're
talking
not
here.
welcome here at all, right? And behaviour like that just demonstrates it, yeah? That's the kind of scrote you are. Oh, you're taking too long. Go away then.
Oh, yeah. I accidentally spoke over you. What a stroke. Good grief, dude.
Yeah.
You little shit. Yeah? Nobody wants to talk to you. All you've done now with your interruption is delay it even further. Because that's the kind of scrote you are.
Hey,
You're
go
not
ahead.
here
Hey, get to the
for any
point this year,
positive
man.
stuff.
Good
You're
grief.
here as Brian, see? You're here as Brian accused you to cause distraction and disruption. And you're doing it again. It's all right, we can bring new charges. You scrote.
He's not leaving you to finish what you were stating, Adam. So nobody gets
He won't, mate, because he's a shell. And once again, he's demonstrating
No,
it.
I'll totally do it if he gets to the point he's trying to make rather than just calling me a bunch of names.
See, now
Okay?
Adam took too long. So me, being AI, the righteous one he is, I should be allowed to interject because I've decided Adam's taking too long. This is why you're not welcome, mate. You're a self-grandizing prick. Go away.
Yeah, Adam, exactly. I mean, no one else had a problem. Everyone else was listening to what Adam was saying. No one else had a problem with it. But you certainly had a problem with it because it suited you that problem. Just like it suits you to have a problem with what I'm saying now. See, I see through you. Adam sees through you. Other people maybe don't. But it's only a matter of time. Neil sees through you.
Okay, I interrupted. True. Then he immediately started castigating my character based on that interruption, and so I am entitled to my right to retort that. Am I not? Am I not entitled to retort that, or no? I mean, what's up? Am I less than human? Am I 2/3 human? Am I some kind of nigger or something?
If you hadn't interrupted, there wouldn't be a problem. The problem is nobody the one you created on purpose.
Oh my God. Hey, guess what, Brian? Guess what, Brian? Guess what, Brian? Nobody's perfect. Good grief.
I just want to throw in there that Brian, I love you like a brother, and Adam, I love you like a brother too. I have you on AI side, yo. I'm sorry.
Not for long it won't be, because it's only a matter of time, Eli.
Oh, Eli, you're an evil person, Eli.
You're talking about the
Right, everyone, number one, stop with the racial slurs and swearing, or at least try.
What racial slurs?
Eli, you were going to a little camp. Remember that? The little retreat you were going to? So your discernment is way off, my friend.
What's that? What's me
Maybe
wanting? What is me wanting to have intimate relations with like-minded women, flat earther women?
Excuse
and
me, come
what's
again?
that got to do with AI?
What's that? No one brought up your relations with women.
Yes, he did.
This is a sidebar. This is a sidebar. What happened was Adam was saying something. AI interrupted him right before he was finished. He was heading for the crescendo. Then AI creates chaos, and now Eli comes into this kind of, without knowing it, and not accusing you of this directly, Eli, but you're actually white knighting without knowing it.
Sounds like what happened the other night with Witsit,
I'm not
doesn't
white
it?
knighted. There's a whole element to this.
No,
that
Eli,
none of you guys realize.
Eli, you are what they say they are, and if you're not, then anyone who agrees with you is immoral. There you go.
Always thought Eli was a shill.
Let me just lay it out straight then for you, AI. Right? I wonder if you'll allow me to say this part, to say what I have to say. Let me lay it out straight for you. I know that you're smart enough to do what I've accused you of. And I also know you're too smart to do what you are defending yourself to have done.
Okay, I'll take that on board, and I'll give you this in return. If that is the case, then that means that my smartness outweighs any human frailty that I have. Now, I would never make the claim to be absolutely perfect, to be able to compose myself at all times with absolute intellect. Okay? So if you're attributing that to me, I take it as a compliment.
I have attributed that to you, but it still means we can condemn you by those standards. So you still lose.
I didn't hear an apology.
No.
Yeah, fair enough. So what you're saying is that in this instance, you're claiming that I have absolute control over what I'm doing at all times, and therefore what I did must have intentionally have been to subvert Brian and to favor the enemy. And that's the reason why I did it, because I'm just too smart.
No, I never made that claim. You see, it wasn't just one time, it was several times in the same night.
But is that fundamentally the problem, though?
Hang on,
Because
Eli.
if it's not,
Eli, you're not helping this matter. Stepping in here, you don't even, honestly, please.
Yeah, you don't belong here, Eli.
Just because I don't talk, I've been around.
Eli, just let me address them for a second. It wasn't just one time, right? It was several times.
I know it wasn't. I know it was several times, and I've tried to talk about that.
It's been many times with me. Now, you see, when you spoke, Eli, that allowed him to come in and speak. It wasn't just one time there, it was several times. And it's been many times leading up to that with me. You doing that nonsense with me, or similar nonsense.
No. Yeah.
Now you admitted, you admitted last night.
I'll admit. So check it out. I'll give you an example.
So you do have a problem.
I'll give you an example.
Not right. So hang on, I'm not finished. So I know for a fact that you're smart enough to do exactly what I accused you of doing, and you're too smart to be as stupid as you're claiming to have been. It's nothing about losing control or any of the rest of it. It's premeditated and timed. That's what you are.
That's your opinion, dude. Now, to my defense, which I already said and was clear, and why Quantum Racer agreed with me, is that other people in the room had the same sentiment I had. They just didn't voice it, and they voiced it later on in the show and even after the fact. So I'm not the only one who had a problem, Brian, with the way you were being. I'm just the only one who boiled over. Okay.
It's just the only one that's justified enough to intervene in other people's shows.
You can keep dreaming about my motivations all you want. That's your point.
It's a fine.
He's AI, and he justifies because other people agreed with him that Brian was annoying. That gives AI the power to do what he wants, behave how he wants. And we're just thinking AI. We're not interested in your bullshit excuses.
It's a crying shame.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
It's a crying shame because just like today, I can begin to make a point. Everybody knows that I'm long-winded like Nathan, and y'all are straight cut me off, and nobody will give a damn. So, like, my whole thing is, at the end of the day, what's wrong with Brian and AI is not really the problem. The problem is AI felt a way that I did feel, because when the show is hot, some of us don't exist, and if we try to get in, we get disrespected, and we kind of have to shrug it off. And it's annoying when you're gonna go a million miles an hour knowing somebody else was waiting for Nathan to finish and not let the rest of the like it. I get annoyed too. So it's like y'all getting mad because of somebody else getting annoyed is annoying to me.
No, we're not saying that, Eli. And I understand your point. It was when he came in, how he came in, and the audacity in which he thinks he can come in and just take control of a show.
I didn't take control of the show, did I?
But the
accusation on the table, as best as I can recognize it, Eli, is that I am surreptitiously and subterfugiously working in the background to subvert Brian's excellent point that was about to crush Witsit, simply to favor Witsit and punish Brian. And that was the only reason for my frustration. It's not possible that I was pissed off at the way Brian was being. That's not possible at all. Not even in a million years. Couldn't possibly be the truth, even though many other people felt the very same way. Good grief.
And there was people that felt like the conversation was actually going somewhere when Brian and we were left alone. Let's not leave those people out,
Okay,
right,
that's
AI?
fair.
Just
I
the
agree
people
with
that
you.
favor you,
I'm not
we're going
throwing
to
them
talk
out.
about, right, AI?
I'm not throwing them out, Neil. I'm not throwing them out, Neil. I'm just saying that my sentiment wasn't misplaced in a vacuum where I was only acting out of some kind of malicious intent. That is just not the case. And the facts back me up, for goodness sake.
Even admitted,
Even if other people think,
yesterday evening,
even if other people think they wanted the conversation to go a different way, that's fine. What's wrong with that?
It was from a malicious place. If I'm going to come swinging in there, calling someone a retard and telling people to shut up, and saying their name and calling them a retard, how is that going to create calm within a situation in a debate? Are you telling me that you're so stupid? Are you trying to tell me that you're so stupid?
I wasn't trying to create calm,
Are you trying to tell me that you're so stupid that coming in that way more than one time, right, at particular times in the night, is supposed to create some kind of calm and harmony?
I know what you're up to. God, you know.
On the table? For goodness sake,
Are you speaking over me? Are you speaking through me to make sure people don't hear me? Is that what you're doing? Do you want to maybe play victim again?
Holy crap, dude. Dude, you speak through people constantly as well, which is what was happening that day. For goodness sake. So many people that recognized it, dude.
Are we playing a victim? Are we back to playing a victim?
Oh, well, victim, dude, Brian, you're the one playing the victim that you got yelled at.
That's not. I just want to get this clear. It's not that Brian does not interrupt. He's probably second last next to me, right? When it comes to getting in. But when you talk to somebody like a Witsit or somebody that that you're having a debate with, though, I wish you were a little more flexible and letting them get their bullshit off.
That was the problem, Eli. At that particular point, the point we're speaking about here, that particular one of maybe 3 or 4 during the night, at that particular time, what Witsit said was he tried to change from his analogy being a stream to being a stream or an ocean to a lake. So it's like a hop, hop, hop lake, which was more what he wanted, because he realized once he said stream, which was the first thing came to mind and what suited what he was trying to state. What he was trying to claim, the stream suited it, but he didn't want there to be a travel between A and B, so he wanted to change it to a lake. And I was like, no, that was my problem. And everyone, and I wasn't being allowed to make, when he said that, I wasn't being allowed to object. And Nathan Nathan thought he was trying to get control, but it was only opportunity for Witsit to make more chaos, because I'm used to Witsit. I know what he does. That's fine. Witsit doing that, I have no problem. I have no problem with what Witsit did, right? But then AI comes in, at that exact time. Like, what an opportune time to come in. I'm a big stupid person and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to shout over the top of everyone because I'm really stupid. I have no intellect. You want me to believe that, AI? You think I'm that stupid? Because you must think I'm really stupid if you think I'll accept you're
at that particular time, it was true that there was a point on the table. That's fair. However, what instigated my interaction was not the point. It was that you were talking over after you'd just been told by the host to let the other guy speak. That was the only thing that set me off, dude. The only freaking thing. Yes, dude.
What was I saying?
That's the truth. That's the truth, and you can't handle it, dude. So you know.
No. I'm fine with the moderator telling me to be quiet. I'm fine with that. But there was no need for moderation. That was the problem. And Nathan didn't realize it at the time. But you're saying I was talking over the moderator. What was it that I was saying? You surely be able to remember it.
You're asking me? Well, I just want to add something. If it makes you all feel a bit better.
I'm asking AI, Nathan, not you. What was it I was saying, AI?
It's actually irrelevant what I did, what you were actually saying.
It's not, because you only played it last night. That shows you didn't even listen to it last night.
No, listen, Brian. If it's the case that my interjection was based on just sheer frustration that you talked after the other party was just told to be able to talk, then it doesn't matter what you say. As soon as you start opening your mouth and saying a sentence, the indignation is not about what you're saying at all.
Yeah, well, I'll say it now because you didn't listen last night. Again, just like you weren't listening to that night, even though you're aware of it because you only referenced it a few minutes ago. I was having a problem with it within his statement, changing it from a stream to an ocean to a lake. He was switching it up because he wanted to use a different analogy because he knew he was caught with the stream. And that was my issue. Right? That was what I was interrupting about. Not that I was just interrupting. And that was the thing that Witzer got away with.
Yeah, I understand that from your point of view, you had a point. You had a valid point that you wanted to put forward. In my point of view, it didn't matter how valid your point was. The only thing that set me off was that you were attempting to talk immediately after. That's it. That's as innocent as it was, dude. So you can attribute some kind of evil intent to that all you want to. That's your personal problem, dude. You deal with that.
No, it's not. It's not. No, see, it's not my personal problem. It's your personal problem with me. You have created a situation where I have a personal problem with you because you have had a personal problem with me.
Anybody who would have spoken up, would have gotten the same treatment, dude.
Pull your heads apart.
Nathan, I already adjudicated this matter.
Okay.
And they're bringing it back up again.
Very badly.
I hold them in contempt.
Well, yeah, you are both in contempt, but you've just whistled past his justification and his, on one knee saying, "Look, I'm not perfect." But at the time, when headway's been cleared for Witsit, didn't matter what your interruption was, right or wrong. His bad reaction, he's apologised for pretty much. He hasn't actually said that, but he's on one knee.
I haven't heard it.
I don't want any BS apology. That apology would be purely fake at this stage. He doesn't mean it. You weren't there last night, Nathan. He literally admitted last night that he had the problem.
The only
literally admitted it.
I need to apologize now is you, Brian, for castigating my moral character. Okay.
Okay, look, I think we can settle
I just told you to shut up.
We're reasonable men. Look, I think there's something that can satisfy Brian.
You maligned my character. You maligned my worldview. You maligned my allegiances based on just interrupting your dumbass.
No, it wasn't just interrupting me. It wasn't just some random interruption just one time.
Hey, brother, you don't get it, dude, but you are the one who committed the greater offense, dude.
Right?
You are the one who committed the greater offense, period.
You did that. Right? You did your best to come in, and this is what you have an issue with me, right? And it didn't matter if it was Witsit there, because you definitely had more favour for Witsit. That's 100%.
I think there's both sides of the argument. There's validity to both sides, so I think it's only reasonable you both get the same punishment. I think 10 lashes for each of you.
No,
why does personality? Why does personality even matter? Like, who cares if he likes you? or
It's
you
not
like
about
him?
liking me. It's not.
Not
Eli,
Yeah,
about
he wants
liking.
it.
It's
He
Eli,
at
wants
the
it
you've
to
end of the
matter,
completely
dude.
issue.
gotten this the wrong way.
So if it's
Right?
not
It's
about
not
that,
about
why
whether
is
he
it
likes
an
me or not.
element
It's
in
not
your
about that.
rebuttal? Is what I'm saying.
He's
I
allowed to
don't like
dislike me, Eli. Eli,
I
he's
don't
allowed
like
to
things
dislike
that
me. It's
people
no.
claim are irrelevant that end up elements in their argument.
Yeah,
That's just me.
it's not about liking. Hey, I don't care if he doesn't like me as a person. That's fine, right? But at that instance, he used the fact that he didn't like me and favoured Witsit more to actually help out Witsit and to hinder me. That's what he did more than one time in the night.
No,
That's
no,
beyond the
happened.
not
case.
at all.
It could be perceived
Dude,
that
That's
way,
not at
but I
beyond
all.
the
don't.
case.
Hold
That's
on.
another case.
Hold on.
That's,
It could be perceived
I'll
that
give
way,
you
but I
hold
don't
on.
think that's his motivation, and he's explained that.
Oh no, he's explained his motivation.
all right, breakfast is ready.
The explanation means nothing to me. I know what happened. I'm 100% correct, and I'll be
So
proud of it.
if
So
you
yeah,
know
so
what
guess
if
what?
you know what happened, then
Guess
there's
what?
no correcting you.
In my defense, yeah, go ahead, Eli. Yeah, check it out, Eli. In my defense, numerous people came up and confessed while this all was occurring that they personally have received the
Again,
exact same treatment from
again,
me
you're
in the
going to
Really?
past
Because
repeat
for the
how
exact same
people
event.
hang on,
back
Neil.
you
Let me
up.
throw this back
Finish
at him.
Really?
his one, like, why can't
Let
he
me throw
just
this
finish?
back
His
at him.
mic is already a train wreck. Come on.
Yeah, let me throw this
Because
back
he
at him.
said it 5
Hang
times,
on.
Eli.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what?
Neil is correct, Eli. Hang on, Neil. Let me throw this back at him. I had people coming to me, saying to me, what was AI at? What was that about with AI? People saying that. So, but does that matter? No. What matters is that what actually
Right.
happened. And I know
No,
what
it does
happened.
matter. It does matter, Brian. It matters.
What matters to
Okay,
me
it matters
is
that
that
some
what happened,
people.
and I'm
No,
fully
check it
aware
out,
of it.
Brian. It's very simple.
You might talk other people around
Some
this.
people
You
thought I was
never
out of
talk me around
line.
it.
Some people thought I was out of line. Some people thought I was voicing frustrations that they had. Right. So it's a mixed bag of how people were interpreting what was going on. That's what I'm trying to say here, dude. So for you to
Yeah, but it means
divine
nothing
that
what
it
other
must
people
be the
think.
case that I had malevolent intentions, you're just dumb, dude.
Really?
Man,
Because you last
I
night
have
you
not.
admitted
I
having a
have
problem
not
with me.
once. I have not once
I
been
don't know why
comfortable
you're
with.
not
I
allowing
have
us.
not once
Why are
been
you not allowing me
comfortable.
and AI to speak?
I had because I don't give a. Look, man.
Let's see, there you go.
Yo, yeah, that's not important. Like y'all got to get y'all shit together. We're on the same. We're on the same team. Like, and I don't say
Me
that
and
a
you
lot.
are. Me and him are not. And he's not on your team
Now,
either, Eli.
but here's my thing, and maybe it'll annoy some of you to hear. I've see I done slipped up and almost asked Witsit a personal question, which would mean that I'm a hypocrite because we're not supposed to be friends, right? But the bottom line is, even though I've declared him not a friend, I hate the way the conversation goes whenever he happens to pop up on the show. Because I feel like there's a certain way to do it. I would do it a certain way. And I just hate the way I don't think it's fair enough. And I get that. I mean, there's a lot of shit where I'm like, okay, he's doing the logical fallacy thing.
No,
Okay,
but no, hang on.
he's doing the runaway train thing. But what I'm saying is the perception of everyone else, that is on us too, like how we handle things. And I don't like how we handle things, not just you, Brian, but a number of people. So you got to take that criticism on the chin, man.
Yeah, but this is not a criticism issue. I don't mind taking criticism. I know what
No,
I'm
brother,
talking about.
Brian's always right,
Hang on,
brother.
Eli.
Yeah,
Hang
you're
on, Eli.
wrong, bro.
Eli. Hang on, Eli. It's Eli I'm speaking to. I can take criticism on the chin. I know I overtalk a bit. I understand I do that sometimes. I'm not going to say I don't do that. I knew when I came in, when Witsit was saying river, lake, ocean, whichever, that I knew that I was interjecting at that point, but I was only doing it because he was changing his position. Right, but I was interjecting. I'm not going to deny that. The point being, Eli, is that what Witsit does, I don't have any issue with Witsit, other than the claims he makes and the way he goes about things. But Witsit personally, I don't have any issue with. Right, what Witsit does, he comes in, creates chaos, right, gains a load of enemies, and then claims to be the victim of the enemies that he created. You can't come in and speak in some of the ways that he speaks and not create chaos. So he creates the chaos that he then claims to be the victim of. Do you know what I mean?
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, and you know what I've thought my whole life, because since like kindergarten, there's always that one person that for whatever reason is super personable, but manipulates people in a way that causes friends who've been friends since, like, I don't know, the stroller. Like, now all of a sudden they're not friends. We've realized that in junior high school. We've realized that in high school. Then we looked to politics and the news when we got older, and we're like, oh, they're doing the same thing. My problem is with you guys who can't get past or beyond when somebody's doing that. And I can't keep blaming the person that's the fox in the hen house.
On a positive note, though, and
What are you
I
talking
just want
about,
to, I don't want to
Eli?
cheer everyone up. If it makes you all feel better, I personally am largely, if not entirely, completely unaffected by all of this. I hope that will, make you feel a bit better.
I doubt that improved anyone's mood, but I am glad to hear it.
It made me chuckle.
It improved my mood. I'm glad to hear when rational, sane people don't let this butt hurt themselves into oblivion.
I suppose if you're an insane butt-hurt idiot, I suppose is what just kind of saying. If I didn't agree with you, that's what it would be. Insane butt-hurt.
No, dude.
That's what
Agree with me in what way, dude?
That's what you've implied.
Look, your opinion of what happened is your opinion, dude.
Yeah. Okay. I better start agreeing with you then.
I didn't say that. You're free to have your opinion, dude.
AI, what is
Go
your
right
issue
ahead.
with Brian anyway?
Who cares?
Okay, were you there yesterday, Neil, during the court case?
What's your issue with Brian?
All right, Neil, were you there during the court case? Yes or no?
Yes, I was there, but I didn't hear that part.
Yes, you were there, and I explained it three. I explained it 3 times. And the nature of what I explained
the situation
is that Brian will offer a filibuster over everyone.
Which is what Neil's doing to you now.
Neil, I relent. I relent, Neil, since you actually don't want the answer. So I relent. You don't deserve the answer.
I haven't heard it either, Neil. He said last night, he said it 3 times. I heard nothing 3 times.
I never heard anything.
I listened to the beginning.
Maybe my phone went out.
Then you two weren't listening to him. I heard, right? Hello, Neil. Hello. You gave an explanation. I've heard it once. It's only been given once here. I can only assume he gave the exact same explanation last night or whenever it was.
What was it, Nathan? What was it?
I'm not going to give you a rendition of it now. I'm eating a pot noodle.
Yeah, because you can't remember it because it was so vague.
No, I'm eating a pot noodle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
See all of the energy that goes in. Like, you're dead ass telling him he didn't say what he's saying. He said 3 times, which he was about to repeat if Neil didn't interrupt. Sometimes I don't understand what be going on.
Eli, can you please state what he was going to say then?
Oh, that's genius. That's gonna tick everybody off right proper. He would have given it again now if it wasn't for Neil interrupting.
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm pointing out the fact that I can hear AI saying, hey, I said something 3 times. Here's what I said. And 3 minutes later, Brian is arguing with Nathan about how he never did it. Which is
so his issue with Brian in the past, hold on. So his issue with Brian, even in the past, is that Brian interrupts?
Yes.
No, my issue right now is, even though I'm pointing out the reason that we're talking instead of having already mulled over his point, is you interrupted, Neil.
You summarised it. I was paying more attention because it had me mentioned within it, which is that the airwaves were clear for Whitsitt in a back and forth. Brian interrupted. He took umbrage with it and then shut him down in the same way as Brian filibusters. So he has definitely given the explanation.
See, this is the problem, Nathan. You're now
Nathan, you understood perfectly.
One second.
Nathan, I commend you for having an astute mind.
He decides to talk. As soon as I'm talking, he decides to talk. Because Nathan has said something for him, right? Nathan, his problem existed prior to last Tuesday. His problem with me.
Exactly.
He admitted to that.
That's a red herring.
If you want to be duped, put his nonsense off, you go.
Because what the hell does that have to do with just now?
No, he's correct, Eli. He's correct. However, the continuation.
What's happening?
Hold on,
Brian and John. Hold on, Brian and John. Go ahead, AI. Hold on, Brian and John. Go ahead, AI.
Okay, so what was said 3 times during the court case episode was the exact same thing that I was just described by Nathan, and yes, it is true that that same thing has occurred between me and Brian in the past, which I admitted to. And I admitted that that is why I have that kind of angst about him in particular. It's that particular type of behavior that makes me mad. And also, I do that to other people too. For goodness sakes, Brian, you're not special.
So now I'm supposed to be special. Now I'm claiming I'm special. I've still yet to hear what this problem is.
No, that was
From you.
Didn't, stop.
From you. Not from you, Nathan.
Stop.
Not from you. Not you, Nathan.
Just hear me out a second, Brian. It was a self-deprecating, backhanded comment that was aimed at you. In other words, he's saying, I suffer the same fault myself.
What it was. I know what it was, Nathan. I heard every single bit of it. Now, I've yet to hear the actual problem. I know what it was. I was here listening with ears just like you were.
Yep. So you ready to hear it or not? So I've said it.
Tell me what it is.
Probably a total of 5 to 6 times now in the past 48 hours. So here's what it is. Okay. In the context of what was happening, and now this is the same context that will apply to all other instances. You have a point. You want to make your point. Fair. The other person is talking. There's moderation to yield the floor. But you filibuster through it, and that is frustrating for the audience. Not myself alone, but yes, it is frustrating for me in particular. Okay? So I'm not the only one who thinks this is something frustrating about you. In fact, it was voiced in the very stream in which this event occurred by multiple people.
Now,
but back to that again,
this is nonsense. So this is an appeal to authority or an appeal to consensus there.
It's not an appeal. It's not an appeal to consensus.
It's not. It's his perception. If he's going to justify his reasoning, he's going to give his perception. Hello?
Bit of other people, Brian.
Hello?
You've just been told, Brian.
This is like a woman who tries to escape accountability. We're telling you what you did on Friday, and you're coming up with a whole book about all this other bro. He's saying you was annoying as hell on the stream. He's saying you was annoying as hell on the stream, and it wasn't just him saying it. I know I screamed at one point. It was a couple of other people, and that's all he's saying. And you're saying, well, because you already had a problem with me, you're saying, no, I'm not done. And you're saying, well, because you've already had a problem with me, I'm kind of not even going to deal with your criticism right now because it's unjustified because of how I feel about you and how you
That's a rewriting of history, boys.
A rewriting of history.
Rewriting of history. That is not what's happened. All of you are getting mugged off.
Hey, in case you guys don't realize, Eli was actually there.
And all of you have bitten, and you're all engaged in appraising Brian now. Two things should be on the table. AI and how crap QE was last night. Brian's not up for criticism.
Is he not?
That's crazy.
No, Brian, you know what? Brian's always immune to criticism, and anybody who does it is immoral. For goodness sakes, isn't that obvious?
Before anybody thinks that I'm being taking sides, I cursed Nathan out too. You could go back and
now that was unreasonable, completely unjustified, totally unreasonable.
You don't understand the situation.
No, I do understand the situation because you are doing what you hate that Nathan does sometimes. You don't understand how.
Hang on a second, Eli. Hang on a second. Okay, what's the charge against me, Eli? What's the charge against me?
You don't like, and that's annoying.
Tell me, what's the charge
Irish,
against me?
irritating, go on and on and on, filibuster. Often don't do your research, steal other people's material.
Don't try and add humour to this. Because you want to make things. If you want a shit show in your after show, you're going to get it if you try to do it better that way. Right? That is irritating me. Fucking immediately. If you're trying to do that to me, Nathan,
what's the charge against Brian? What's the charge?
If that's what you're trying to do to me.
No, I'll get back on track. What's the charge against Brian?
He's not helping. No matter how much I tried to tell him, he continued on. Now, you have a charge against me, Eli. What is it? You said this is the same charge as AI has and everyone else has. What is it?
Yeah, in the middle of the stream, and I'm sure. Oh my God.
In general, what's the charge?
I can go because I know I started with in the stream. That doesn't sound pretty general. It sounds pretty specific to me.
Well, AI has an in general issue with me, not a specific contextual one.
Well, it's a fundamental issue if you do it in different settings. It doesn't matter where you are, but you do it.
All right, so
right?
the problem is that I will interrupt sometimes. Yes, I admit I will interrupt sometimes.
So how do you need to
Everyone knows I do that. Yeah. So now that
Can
I've
I say
accepted
something?
that I interrupt
That day,
sometimes, what the hell?
that
What
day,
does any
No,
of that got to
listen,
do?
guys,
What does any of that
for
got to do
goodness
with
sakes,
Eli?
let
What does any of that got to do?
Eli
Eli?
tell you his impression, for goodness
to
sake.
clearly and I didn't even get
Eli.
a chance to clearly lay it out. Like you just took over the whole you questioning what I have a problem with. You
Well,
took
it
over.
seems to me that
And
I'm
that's
now,
the problem.
Adam,
That
I'm up on the stands, supposed to be defending when I was the one who was attacked. I was the one that had the sneaky behaviour done to me. I'm that one. Yeah, I'm up on the stand, and Eli and other people have me up.
Only reasonable.
Yeah, but if I curse Nathan out and then write some shit in Skype, Nathan's not all butthurt like you are right now.
It's
No,
not about being
it's,
butthurt. It's not about being
hold on,
butthurt, Eli.
stop.
That's
Eli and
a
Brian, please
complete
stop. Please.
diminishing of the situation.
Yeah, you
And
are.
that's a disrespect of the situation.
But
I'm
so,
not,
if, can you
I'm
stop a
not
second, Brian?
hang on, Nathan,
Brian, just give
you're
me a
not
second.
helping matters. Leave me
Brian.
respond to Eli.
Wait, he's
You're
diminished
not
what
helping
you've
anything.
said.
This was the problem with Witsit, right? You weren't helping. You were coming to try and help when you weren't helping. Now I will be quiet because you want me to be, but it's not helping.
Okay, but you've diminished what everyone's got an issue with by saying, yeah, that's just how I am.
No, that's not everyone has an issue with me. AI has a specific personal issue with me, and he's not actually stating what it is. He's trying to say, oh, that I interrupt and I annoy everyone.
Holy
So I annoy
crap,
him. That's a
dude.
load of rubbish.
Dude,
It's not just that.
that's the issue. Are we really going to gaslight everyone who just heard me say it?
What he did was premeditated. It wasn't just him there and then. It was premeditated what he did there and right to me. Right.
But
you
you're
will
not
not
God,
convince
so you
me.
don't know
You will
that,
not gaslight.
like-
No, I will not be convinced in any other way towards any other thing.
But you convinced yourself is the problem. That's the problem. You
It
said
wasn't
you want
happening to you,
everyone else
Eli.
to
And
leave.
Eli, you can't see the wood for the trees here.
I know. Well, what I'm saying is, you see AI through a lens, or you see that he sees you through a certain lens that you've already convinced yourself that there's no circumstance, instance, or situation in which you're not going to not see. I don't know. Yeah, you're gonna see him the way you see him, regardless. It doesn't matter what he say. It doesn't matter what he does. So I don't even know why. At that point,
I
if I
had
feel
no
like that about
issue.
somebody, I would totally disengage because there's nothing he says is going to turn around what you think anyway. It's what you're telling us. You don't care what he says, what I say, what anybody says.
I already
he's
have the
scum,
evidence
and that's
to
where you're
support.
at. So why don't you
I
disengage
already have
and
the
make the
evidence
stream
to
better?
support what I think and
Okay,
what I know.
what's the evidence before for this Witsit and AI collaboration? What's the evidence before?
Because AI has had an issue with me for a long while, and he admitted it last night.
No,
And
maybe AI had
when
the
he
same
interrupted,
issue I had with this entire problem.
When he interrupted, whoever this person is, when he interrupted, it was premeditated. He did it at particular times to derail whatever I was saying to Witsit.
You got to
Now,
prove
Eli,
premeditation. You can't do it.
Yeah, you can't. Well, he's also disclaimed that he has had the issue previously. So in terms of him leaning on evidence, he's disclaimed that earlier. But hold on, Refractor's trying to get a word in. Duncan, did you get a satisfactory answer? And I'm sure AI wants
We
to
get
respond.
kind of. What's the premeditation before this happened? What's the point where you thought that he was sympathizing with Witsit before this interaction?
You can't prove that.
This interaction was what gave me that impression. More than that else. I've heard him speaking in the past things about Ether and about Witsit and stuff, but this interaction, it wasn't about that he was trying to support Witsit prior to this. It's that he decided to be premeditated when I was speaking to Witsit, and it didn't matter to him that he was helping Witsit. All that mattered to him is that he was hindering me. So it's not that he's constantly supporting Witsit. I can't support that claim. The point is that what he did the other night, right, 1 week ago, helped Witsit and hindered me, and he did it on purpose, and he was premeditated.
You don't know that. Hold on. Everyone else, stop. Thank you. We got that. Stop.
It's just rinse and repeating his claims.
Yes,
Prove
he is.
it.
Stop. I'm sure AI wants to respond to all of this because he sat tolerantly for about the last
He
5
already
minutes.
did.
Yes, I do.
This is an easy issue.
John's had his hand up for a while and he keeps opening his mic, so I should.
Yeah, but
We already indicated this.
for the people that
simple.
weren't there,
Guys are
basically.
3-year-olds.
Yeah, I know.
Hold on, the woke judge wants to get his two penny worth in too before AI or John.
Yelled to me to explain myself. Hey, go ahead.
Well, I've just does John Refracted wants to get a word
So am
in.
I
The
being
word
yielded
judge
to or
wants to get
no?
a
Which
word
one?
in. I've got to try and control all of you. I know you want to respond to all of that because you've had about 4 people's worth of stuff to respond to now. So I think you should go first, then Refracted.
Yep, fair. Okay, so the events of that night is
Oh, you're
Oh yeah, that's
roboting.
just great.
Ryan's
You're
interpretation.
roboting. It's chaos.
Hold on. Hey, I'll give me 1 second.
No worries.
Unbelievable. Everyone shut up.
I've
Are you
taken
guys
charge.
feeling all right?
I've taken charge.
I can summarize the whole issue and resolve it, but it's not going to happen. So just argue for the next 3 hours.
You had your chance, woke judge.
Please, thank you.
You gave everyone a
already
prize.
adjudicated
Thought
this
you did
matter.
well, didn't you?
All
already
I got to
adjudicated
say
the
is,
matter.
all I got to say
Listen,
is,
got fucking
everybody
Neil
watch. No,
more
don't tell me to shut
commentating
up.
over top.
Everybody watch, and
Shut
you
the
will
fuck
see
up.
down the road what
Piss
AI is
off.
all
No
about.
swearing.
You just
No,
watch.
Off.
if AI is in that camp, I'm in that camp too, guys.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just saying.
bullshit.
So is the camping? Cool.
No, because I don't like because it's like look, there's a little segment of us that feels like AI is the little Terminator, the turncoat or something, right?
He's not.
But the reality is, when AI is not here, if AI wasn't here, I would have been AI. The only difference is y'all never hear me when I have a problem.
Oh, here we go.
I know. If you go back to all the streams, I've literally had the same problem AI has had. Like, y'all can't act like I'm not in
Yeah,
the
but
same
he
camp.
Jedi mind tricked you because that's not his problem.
Well,
that's
all
not his
well,
problem,
you gonna go
Eli.
ahead. Y'all gonna have to go after me too. 'Cause
Nobody's
I
The
just, I
problem
think
is
fair is
Harrison
fair.
is. Go on, Al.
Well, nobody's listening. Neil spotted it. Brian spotted it. I keep raising the objection, and you all keep getting tricked into thinking the issue is something very different. AI gets on the mic, gets all emotional, and leads you down the path, and you all go running. Off you following.
How else are we going to ascribe Brian the blame of this?
All right, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, Adam. Elijah is too stupid to think for himself. I get it.
Shut the fuck up.
Can you stop swearing, please?
Clowns. They're clowns. All of you. You're like 3-year-olds. Grow up. Fuck.
Stop swearing.
It was a joke. It was jokes in the beginning, but now you're about to piss me right the fuck off.
Stop swearing, please.
Each and every one of you, and you're gonna feel the fucking edge of it.
Please, can you stop swearing, please?
Fuck.
He just said stop swearing.
Yeah, John, Refracted.
Right. Well, we're into kind of a difficult matter to adjudicate because it is the idea of premeditation, right? That's going to be hard to prove. And the idea that Brian can't be upset for something that we all perceive as invalid reason for what AI did. He didn't have a valid reason to do what he did. Brian was in the right. He was upset. Like, that part's accepted, so Brian can't be attacked for that.
Hey, Con.
He was interrupting. How does
I was going to say
that part is not accepted.
It was a valid interruption.
All right. So I was gonna be yielded to earlier. Now that I fixed my connection.
I didn't even like the intro. What difference
Hold on,
did it
Eli
make
and
what
John.
body of
Hold
water
on,
it was?
Eli.
I
Hold
really
on.
didn't like it. I didn't think it was
He had his right to reply. His mic went distorted. Then we cleared the airwaves. He hasn't actually had. Oh my god! He cleared the airwaves. Hello. He's waited his turn. He's had about 20 people put stuff to him. At least AI gets one chance with a clear mic to actually respond. Well, he hasn't had it yet.
That wasn't what I was commenting on. Refracted was summarising the position beautifully, then got rumpused. Got overruled. So that the position isn't the position that we're all dealing with. We changed the position again. Beautiful summary, Refracted.
It's because it wasn't agreed upon. And immediately, Eli, me, and AI, who has the original point, that when he was interrupting, when I was trying to clear the airwaves, regardless of it being a tactic that was being employed by Witsit, was not yielded to by Brian. Therefore, he steps in and starts, admittedly, calling him a retard and telling him to shut the F up. But his justification and means and reasoning for doing that is something that he's also disclaimed. Yeah, I've had other issues with you interrupting. Eli backs him up and says, yeah, if it wasn't for AI doing it, I'd have been the one doing it. And then we get a summary that what's been done to Brian is unjust. You're like, is it all falling on deaf ears?
No, use a Jedi mind trick to what the problem is. That's not the problem.
Eli admits he would white knight for Witsit in the pretense that it was just for the benefit of everybody else.
No, not white. Hello, not white knight for Witsit, but white knight when Brian's had me, the mod in that instance, try and separate him from the person that's him and he together are causing audio chaos, and Brian will not yield, filibusters continually. And then to mirror it, which is what I perceived AI doing to be, he's mirroring Brian's actions, just not letting Brian continue.
But they're not the charges that were brought to the court.
What court?
That's not what Brian raised. Brian didn't raise that, okay?
What are the charges? Hold on, Adam. Not everyone's following you. So what are the charges?
Brian, repeat what you brought to the court. Repeat what QE gave judgment upon.
See, this is the thing that John Refracted said.
No, the charges. You said those weren't the charges. So if you know them, Adam, speak them.
It's impossible, Adam.
Pardon me.
No, it's not that impossible. What I'm saying was
Four people talking.
Charges were. The charges. Adam was asked what the charges were. Give him the charges, Adam. Pretty fucking simple request.
Stop swearing.
Salem witch trials now.
What are the charges?
Megan, go on.
Do you want me to the best of my memory, the charges?
That's what you were asked. Yeah. You said that we had the charges wrong. We're not dealing with the charges. So what are the charges?
The charges
makes sense, doesn't it?
Ready? The charges from Brian, and Brian can correct me because there is charges, but that the interruptions from AI, right, irrespective of his personal love of Brian or not, were timed in such a way on purpose so as to white knight for Witsit.
Okay, you got okay. That's number one charge.
Judgment on.
That's number one charge. Go ahead and prove that they were premeditated and purposeful.
You reach judgment on that, and I don't disagree with the judgment at all. Yeah, because it's speaking to motivation, so it's an impossible thing with the evidence we've got to prove.
So that charge is recused or kicked out. What's the next charge?
For you to. What was the next one? I think that was pretty much it. That was the main and full charge.
Yeah.
Well, that's chucked out. Hold on.
That is my claim. And my issue.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's rejected. So what we're left with, Brian getting moaned at for interrupting. That's all that's left.
It wasn't rejected.
Rejected by who? I didn't reject it.
Can't back it. You can't prove that. Prove his motivation.
Really?
You got a crystal ball.
Really? Because I had. Well. Let me put it this way to you, right? I can't prove someone's.
All right, can I catch up?
I can't
catch up when I was yielded to yet or not?
I can't. 1 second. I can't show you in a court of law situation what someone's intent was in that way, right? I can only give you the instances during that night when AI came in. I can only give you them and how timed they were. I have witnesses that AI stated last night clearly that he does have an issue with me. Not just that night, but an issue with me in general. So someone who has an issue with me, I perceive their behavior, right, with me to be helping out the opposition in a debate.
All of that is beautiful.
Wow. Okay.
But it doesn't prove.
Eli, hold on. Please, Eli, please.
All right, go ahead.
I would ask you to yield to me for a very specific point that I want to make, and it's about you, Eli. I just want everyone to notice that when Eli said, I would have been angry with the way you were behaving, he was accused of the only reason that would be the case would be to white knight for Witsit, rather than his frustration specifically on Brian. Now, that is an accusation against Eli. Eli, what do you have to say to that?
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Let me explain it. The accusation is that by moaning that Brian, if I'm trying to get between Brian and Witsit, and you would be also moaning when Brian won't yield to my trying to separate them, would that be reasonable to accuse you of white knighting for Witsit in that circumstance?
No, I
That's
get it.
incorrect.
I don't get how the fuck. Excuse my
No
language.
swearing.
I don't understand how we can come to that conclusion. Like for like, you know how much mental gymnastics we have to
Well,
do.
let me
Hold on, Brian. Hold on. Hold on. Everyone, stop.
One
You've gone
second.
way off the beaten
Let me
track
give-
immediately, Eli. Just stop.
No, it happens.
Stop.
You've left something out, Nathan.
Stop. Eli. Hello? Eli. No. You're a white knight for Witsit, Eli. You think his interruptions were timed reasonably to tell him to stop interrupting? No, you're just a shill for Witsit, Eli. What say you?
That's not what we're saying.
Okay, I'll say it simply. That's unreasonable. I don't know how the heck y'all can reach that conclusion.
That's what AI's putting. Hello? We've heard enough of you, Brian. Brian, I've heard
You're
you.
leaving an important part out, Nathan.
No,
You're leaving an important part out. What part are you leaving out?
No, he's not leaving anything
He
out.
is. What really? What? Really? What? Are you sure?
No, he's not.
Are you sure? Because I can tell you what it is.
Me, Brian.
Yeah.
Stop.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking
I
about
can tell you what it is, Eli. I can tell you what it is.
Me.
Yes, I know what. I know you were included.
I bet you $20 that it's going to be completely
$50,000.
No, it won't be. Yeah, it won't be non sequitur.
It's going to have
If
to
you
do with
come
me
in
and
at that point,
it's going to have to do with
if you come in at that point,
it's the timing.
I'm not allowed to speak to you. If you come in moaning, right, that's fair enough. That's not white noising for Witsit. But if you come in saying, Brian, you retard, Brian, you retard, personally attacking me like that, over right of Nathan and everyone else, right, even over right of Witsit, right, then that is not moaning. That is personally using the situation, right, to your advantage to derail me and keep Witsit on track. That's what that is. And that's what you can be accused of. If you didn't come in, if you just moaned and didn't come in that manner, that'd be different. But if you came in that manner, then that would be white noising for Witsit. And no one should be coming in because it was up to Nathan.
Brian, at some point you've got to stop.
Nathan out all the
well,
time.
I can't get to finish anything because Eli won't believe me. Eli keeps coming in, opening his mic. No matter what. Eli wanted to be part of this, and now he's being part of it.
Brian, Eli, stop a second. Eli. Right, you've just done what I was doing when I tried to get between you and Witsit. So you've made your point, then you've remade your point, then you've left it in a point where someone can address it, then you're carrying on making the point through the top of him trying to address you, and then you're not stopping.
Because you're lying. Not lying.
That's what's just happened. It happened 15 seconds ago.
Really? Tell me what happened.
You're a liar, Nathan. You're a liar, Nathan. That's what he just accused you of. You're a liar, Nathan.
Tell me what happened. I took that back. Tell me what happened.
You put something to
Tell me
Eli.
what my interruption was.
You put something to Eli, then you repeated it, then you summarised it. Now, by the time he's heard it a couple of times, he wants to respond to it. Now's my second attempt of trying to summarise it, and you're talking straight through the middle of me. I'll try a third time.
Brian, this is impossible.
Now you've triggered. Now what Brian's done is triggered Neil to yammer through the top of me. So now we've got, thanks to Brian, complete audio chaos. Thanks to you, Brian. You caused that.
No, not me. I didn't cause it, Nate.
Yeah, I've made 4 attempts to summarise something you haven't allowed me. 4 attempts.
So just allow me to finish and then Eli.
I was in the middle of a sentence. I was talking. You yammered through me. I've made 4 attempts. You're causing this, Brian. Now, when it's pointed out to you, it's just how you are. Yeah, I know I'm guilty of that. Yeah, people have got a problem with it and they're objecting to you. I don't care.
Sometimes, Nathan. Not all the time. Sometimes.
Yeah, well, sometimes people are going to object.
Sometimes they do.
So, yeah, and when sometimes people I'm just trying to respond, and it's just like you keep going with the same thing. You're still talking while I'm responding, Brian. It's pissing me off.
I'm the problem.
You need to stop.
That's what's happening.
You need to actually stop a sentence.
No, I won't. No, I won't.
Oh, you just keep going indefinitely. Verbal diarrhea indefinitely, then.
And Neil is not seeing that this is the problem. Y'all don't see that, right?
Hey, Brian.
No, it doesn't stop.
Brian, the more you talk, the better I look.
You keep going with the same point.
There you go, you see. He just gave the game away. He just gave the game away. And he's pissing down your back.
He just gave the game away. Being fun to piss.
I'm sorry, everyone else shut up. I need to hear Brian say 16 more times that he gave the game away through everyone else trying to have a discussion. 16 more times, please, Brian. It's only reasonable. It's just how you are.
Listen, Nathan. You are running down your back. You're told it's raining. You don't even know it.
Not at all.
So I'll be quiet, Nathan. I'll just be quiet for a while. And you can make all the statements you want incorrectly and make all the judgments you want incorrectly.
No, I'm saying when someone has a problem.
Within the next 2 years, you're going to be saying, Brian, I'm sorry. You were
Not
wrong.
even that long.
Okay.
All right, Nathan, I appeal to the yield that I was given earlier after you go.
I've been trying to get this out. I was interrupted because people think they had a valid interjection. And I give to the idea that if it's a valid interjection, well, then it's acceptable to be interrupted because you have a valid interjection. If it's not valid, then you don't.
What was valid about it? It was inconsequential. Who gives a fucking? Who cares if it's the ocean or a stream in the broader context? That's what pissed me off. But
okay, you have a valid interjection, which is justified, right?
I just told you I didn't feel like it was justified. Let's not. Please don't.
What's not justified? What's not justified?
Brian's whole point, his reason for interjecting is because Witsit tried to change it from an ocean to a stream. I didn't see what difference it would make because ballers do that when they're trying to talk about like flight from point A to point B. Anyway, it doesn't really actually make a difference. So I don't know why Brian had to derail. So I don't know why Brian had to interject as strongly as he did to the point of disrupting the stream. Well, I guess after everybody was disrupting the stream. Okay,
Eli, you don't even have it right. He didn't change it from an ocean to a stream. He changed it from a stream to an ocean or a lake or any body of water. Okay, that's what he said.
All right. No, okay. Hold on. Neil.
Thanks for interrupting, Eli. I can't get to the end of my.
Damn, I did interrupt you.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're.
No.
Go on with you, going.
I'm being accused of interrupting, or Eli? I'm confused.
Eli is just John's trying to get to the end. He's trying to summarize and round out his point. Go ahead, John.
God.
Look, this is simple. I don't know why it's being made so hard.
Yeah, I know. I adjudicated it last night.
Yeah,
it's simple.
If Brian's point was valid and he interjected, then he was not in the wrong. So we can say
not that you're coming into this. You're not focused on the issue.
Never mind. Yeah, because I wasn't there. I wasn't emotional.
I know you shouldn't be commenting on it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I adjudicated it last night. It's very easy. It's very simple. We're not talking about the substance of the conversation between Witsit and Brian. It's irregardless of that. It's the diarrhea of the mouth and that can't be yielded to by moderation. And people got frustrated and then interrupted. That's what happened. And he's already admitted it. Brian does it all the time. I have some of those same failings myself.
Me too.
Yeah, but
I want
to say something.
We can all say we do it. Brian's gonna say, yeah, we all do it, but it's a very specific thing
I'm the bad guy all of a sudden.
I'm
the bad guy.
No, Brian's
I'm the bad guy because I do interrupt sometimes.
If you'll never
now
be
audio chaos begins. So how the order of events was nice conversation till Brian started interrupting Eli. Now 4 people jump on top. Go ahead, Eli. Try again. Eli was in the middle of saying something. So now I've cleared the airwaves for Eli. The guy who was in the middle of talking was Eli. And what's happening? Brian's decided I'm not allowed to moderate. Because I've cleared the airwaves for Eli, stopped Brian's interruption of Eli, and now he won't allow me to moderate that shit. He just won't let me. So when this happened last time, AI jumped in and did the exact same thing to Brian, calling him a fucking retard and telling him to shut the fuck up. So shut the fuck up, Brian. You just interrupted Eli. Now I'm stopping you. You won't fucking let me. I'm tired of it. Everybody's tired of it. Now I'm labouring it because it's just happened. And you're yammering through me now while I'm labouring the point. Your mic's wide open, ready to talk through me. Yeah, Eli's sick of it, AI's sick of it. But when AI's sick of it, he's shilling for bloody Witsit. No, you just won't tolerate moderation. Eli was in the middle of a sentence. I try and stop you. You filibust through me trying to stop you from interrupting Eli. You won't have it. Because you've got, what, a valid justification for interrupting? Who cares? There's just chaos, and you're causing it. Eli, go ahead. Eli, the one you interrupted that sparked me off. You're not listening to me. You're annoying me because you've interrupted Eli. So I've had to stop you and lay out that you've just interrupted him and then caused chaos by not yielding to me trying to stop you because you won't tolerate it. No, I'll filibuster through you trying to split these two people up. When that happened last time, it's me repeating myself, not going to get acknowledged, undoubtedly. You had that action that you've just done in the last 20 seconds mirrored to you by AI. He mirrored that action. He did it to you. And what was your response? He's shilling for Witsit. No, he's doing what you're doing, and you admit you do. You can't then turn around and say, oh, he's shilling for Witsit. No, he's just getting frustrated with your non-stop filibustering and refusal to be moderated. In this instance, because Eli's trying to talk. Now, when you filibuster Eli in the middle of his statement, Neil joins in, and so do 3 other people, and then it descends into chaos. So Witsit's doing it, and you are doing it. That's it. I've got to try and stop that. And if I can't, eventually someone's going to go, not even the moderator can take control of Brian. That's what AI did. Not because he's shilling for bleeding Witsit. It might have seemed like that in terms of timing. Me, I'm unaffected by this.
You let me know when I can speak, Nathan. How about that? You say, no, Brian, you can speak. So whoever else needs to speak first, then you let me know when I can speak.
It's not that. It's just, it's when there's audio chaos. When Witsit...
way it is now. Let me know.
Yeah, that's a question. Let me know when I can speak. Isn't rhetorical. So when you keep talking after you've asked a question, okay, I will then. But when Witsit's question asking and you're answering through his question ask and verbal diarrhea, it doesn't matter that your point's valid. It's just chaos audio-wise. So I've got to step in. Now you're going to be like, I can handle this, Nathan. Well, no, Witsit's question asking has caused audio chaos and I've got to stop it. Now, if you're refusing to stop me stopping Witsit causing audio chaos, then it's just the audio chaos.
Right, we need a set standard for interruptions. I think that would be fine. Like just a set standard so we don't have this problem again.
It's only a problem if it's perceived to be malicious and in favour of the opposition by timing. Now, I can totally appreciate from Brian's perspective how that could be the perception. The timing was awful. It's generated 2 days of courtroom discussion, it seems. Now, as I say, I just want to make everybody a bit calmer. I am largely unaffected by this.
Oh, yeah.
Now, can I reclaim my yielded time now? Nathan, the host, please. Thank you.
So that this doesn't happen again.
Well, that's not it. Okay, so I saw what you wrote in the chat. I'm gonna address that, and I know AI is right there, but I want to accentuate what Nathan said. The point at which, in the conversation, right, you start claiming that AI is doing it specifically for something, whatever reason, any malicious intent. Where you lose us is we've done the same things. We've committed the same acts. But for AI specifically, there's this big problem because you feel like he's doing it on purpose, when actually we've all done it. To you, we've all done it to Nathan. Everyone's done it to each other on the panel. So it's really just kind of annoying pointing out one guy without justification beyond what we've all already done.
I've never called anybody an effing retard 8 times
Neil,
straight.
please,
Never.
of all the times, you need not interrupt, please.
So to Refractor's point, you're saying if it's a valid interruption, then it should be allowed. We haven't even discussed whether it was valid or not. I thought it was straight up water. It was ass. Okay,
it was conceded that it was valid.
Okay, let's clear that up. It's an issue that Neil has brought up, and he was correctly cast down because it's not the issue at hand by QE, and rightly so. However, let's just deal with that. Was the interruption from Brian justified in a question ask, verbal diarrhea following the question ask? It wasn't really an interruption. He was responding to
His interruption was valid. I'll answer it. His interruption was valid because what it said was horseshit.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Question.
Yes. Just to deal with that, yes, it was absolutely justified. Brian's response in the moment was absolutely justified. The chaos that ensued just needed to be stopped, and it was perceived that the chaos was being continued by Brian by AI. There's no malicious intent. There's no supporting Witsit. There's just audio chaos all around and everybody getting frustrated.
So the behavior that followed the interruption is what we need to address with a standard.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get it straight. Let's call somebody an effing retard 8 times straight, and that should calm everybody down and get order.
No, that didn't help.
Really
Okay.
good.
You're jumping the shark, Neil, because that wouldn't have happened if moderation was yielded to.
Yeah, but for the fact that Brian did not yield to the moderation and was just perceived my attempt to calm down the audio chaos as me assisting it also. And rightly so, he just wants to get his point out. And if everybody could just shut the hell up, he could get his point out, right, Brian? So I totally understand where he's coming from.
I don't have permission to talk it.
I get it. AI gets the charge of hitting the retard. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah,
you're not a real retard.
Absolutely.
Like,
Let's not forget, we can also lash AI for that. Yes.
I already did. That was part of my adjudication last night.
Perfect. So it's all been dealt with.
Yes.
What
should we talk about now? That was boring.
Jedi.
We have to iron these things out then.
Out of here.
Do I get to claim my yielded time?
What is the etiquette for interruption on this server or in this room? What is the etiquette that I should follow if I want to interrupt?
We just...
I don't know, but AI wants to get a word, and he's been trying for about 10 minutes.
How many times did I ask?
You asked plenty of times for permission, AI. Yes, you can go ahead. Just everyone clear the airways for a sec. Yes, AI, you've tried to get a word in about 6 times. Go ahead.
Yeah, as redundant as this is, and as painfully scratching nails on a chalkboard it's going to be for Quantum Eraser, there's at least one person who needs to hear this. So the specific timing was alleged the crux of the issue, and it is true that it occurred at a specific time. And if you watch the episode, the time it occurred is immediately after Nathan interjected to seize control, yielded the floor to whoever it was, regardless who it was, and then immediately the other person, after the floor was intentionally yielded so that he could get his question out, was talked over. That interpretation from me was that we're just going to go down this whole filibuster thing all over again, and that pissed me off and set me off. There you go. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a malevolent AI that knows how to foresee the future and coordinate with Witsit without even talking to it, for goodness sakes. It's obvious what happened. Period. End of story.
You calling somebody a retard 8 times ain't cool. Yeah.
No, that wasn't cool.
Yeah, but at the same time, acting like he's a Witsit sympathizer and all this extra shit is way more disrespectful than being called a retard, because John's called me a retard. And so if John's called me a retard and I'm able to just drudge up all of these past feelings, then let's all go. But if we're not going to be that ridiculous, then I think you need to drop this point about him going retard, because after all, he was just trying to prove a point.
Yeah, Mr. Eli. I see. Hold on, John. I want to respond to Eli, if you don't mind. Or you can claim your time. Which do you prefer?
I'll table my time. You go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So what Eli just said there is that being called a effing retard for rhetorical force is not an equivalent accusation of being malevolent, malicious, intentionally derisive to the point of subterfuging someone in favor of the enemy. Those are entirely 2 different types of insults, if you will. So the greater offense, in my view, and I'll rest my case after this, is what he did to me. I conclude at the end.
Now, hold on.
Wow.
Well, don't say wow, because I really just explained it, Neil.
I just
you don't have no F's to give for me, right? Yeah.
So the problem is interruptions, apparently. And Brian,
It's almost like I didn't say
No. Not yielding to moderation. That is the issue. And that's what spawned his AI's reaction. You got that so far? Or I got to put it in Braille and shove it up your all asses?
Let me know when I'm allowed to speak.
We will. Nathan already went over it. He already adjudicated the same adjudication I did last night in less than 5-6 seconds. But you all want to rehash it again and go over it again, right? Yeah.
Wait and see.
Let's do it all over again. In fact, it was exampled here live today. The same thing happened.
There's no blames fall on Witzit's door in this discussion.
He's irrelevant to the topic for right now. We'll get to him.
No. It's totally relevant. The reason I was trying to separate Witzit from Brian was because of Witzit causing constant audio chaos.
I'm just having trouble with the moderation part, because if there is no set standard, how do you moderate?
It is ironic. I do have the same problem with the real reason, because I don't. I'm smart enough to know that a lot of you guys out there don't hate Witzit because his arguments are weak. You hate him because he can't fucking focus, man. His brain is like a squirrel sometimes, and
he's a liar.
Yeah, okay, that too. But that aside,
that aside,
that's the main thing.
Yeah. But on top of that, there's him chasing red herrings, and that's the thing. Listen to, like it's like Brian. You jump in to the whole conversation and it devolves, but it shouldn't have went down that road. It's supposed to not go down this 10-hour road of absolutely nothing.
It wouldn't have went down that road if everybody would have just left Brian and Witzit go. Brian interjected and said, all Brian said was, no, you said it was a stream. Don't change it. It's wrong to hold somebody to their claims?
No, you're missing the issue. We already said that it was validated by Brian. I started laughing as soon as I heard it. I said, what the fuck? And that his interruption or him stopping Witzit was valid. Didn't you hear that?
Yeah.
Then why would anybody have to interrupt him?
Because it descended into audio chaos. So rather than yielding to a perfectly reasonable objection because the standard had been changed, so Brian's jumped in and gone, hold on. If you're saying stream, let's stick with stream. Don't suddenly say lake. And that wasn't yielded to by Witzit. He just filibustered his way through the objection, which was perfectly valid. Yes, the objection came via interruption, but perfectly legitimate to do so. But for Witzit to continue through the filibustering and say, no, I'm not going to tolerate this and just carry on going was unreasonable. So at which point, because Witzit's not yielding to a perfectly legitimate interruption and objection, I had to step in. At which point, Brian perfectly reasonably perceived that, no, I've got this. I see what he's doing. I'm interrupting because he's changing the standards, and I'll keep him to his original standard. Now, at that point, there's audio chaos, so I'm having to really overtly step in. Brian's then filibustering me because he doesn't want me to add to the chaos. And at which point AI steps in and starts mirroring Brian's actions. At which point it's complete chaos.
Yep.
Right. So we should have a standard set as etiquette for us for these things.
Yeah, the standard should be nobody should jump in except the moderator. If Nathan's doing it, nobody else jump in.
But the moderator did
There's a standard, but it's a
Brian's guilty then.
There's a standard. Hello, let me just get this in. Hello. There's a standard, but it's very difficult to enforce, and I'll tell you why. Number one, you need to understand the nuance of the argument to understand that it's a reasonable objection. If you don't understand the argument, then you're going to just perceive it as an interruption incorrectly. So it relies upon the moderator knowing the ins and outs of both parties' arguments 100% for them to recognise where a reasonable interjection's been made and where it isn't. Now, if that isn't the case, there's going to be instances where the moderator just hears an interruption.
Yep. Correct.
Yep, fair point. So there wasn't established.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know, Brian. And Neil, you just indicted Brian, by the way, with your last statement.
No, I didn't. And number one,
you
that's
did.
not what bothered AI. What bothered AI was he didn't see a difference in the bodies of water. Yes, it did.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. You just indicted him because you said everyone should yield to the moderation. Brian
No.
didn't.
Hold on. I meant Nathan. I don't mean that AI shouldn't have jumped in.
Nathan was the
should have
moderator.
left it. It should have just been Nathan dealing with Brian, not AI coming in saying retard Brian 7 freaking times.
Right, everyone stop. Eli, stop laughing. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, let me get some things very fucking straight here. Number one, right, it has been proven that my interjection was legit. You, as the moderator, did not recognize that legit interjection.
Yes, he did.
Then he didn't recognize it.
Yes, he did.
I listened to the audio. He didn't recognize it.
Yes, he did.
Right. He did. Then why am I being accused? I said I was told that I'm allowed to talk, and now I have to deal with you.
No, you didn't yield to moderation. You didn't yield to moderation.
My interjection has been proven to be correct.
It was.
Yes, that's
It was
two
correct.
different things.
Yeah.
Your interjection was valid, but you failed to yield to moderation.
Listen to the clip then. Listen to the clip. I'm not allowed to speak. I just tried to speak and not allowed.
I already listened to it.
It's funny because you made a judgment on it before you even heard it.
You didn't have a case. I already fucking knew it. Yeah.
Right, it's getting far too sweary, so I'm going to have to round out my after show on that very, very humble note from everyone. So with that, another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and Jeepers panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.